Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the DPPG Sports Show. In this corner, coming from Central New Hampshire, Dan Curran. In this corner over here, originating from New Jersey, Mr. Michael Foley. And standing in the middle of it all, coming from Long Island, New York, the DP and DPPG, Devin Dan.
I will say that every time I hear that intro, I laugh, but also, like, I'm low-key proud of what I did. Ooh, the NHIAA website's up.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Timmy Trumpets, even as a Yankees fan.
Even as a Yankees fan.
Absolutely. You can't listen to that song and not be you can't listen to it and not be hyped up.
The Sandman's so much better.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Come on,
absolutely.
That's true.
I just saw a TikTok with the guys like, "Oh, this is a better one." What is that?
Yeah,
I
no.
must be old.
I mean, nobody had to say that yet, but glad we got that out there early. Nice. We're getting updates on the NHIAA website as we speak, and we finally got through, but it seems like the data's not there. So that's going to be an ongoing problem here, or solution, period. Anyways, hey guys, Devin Postlesny here, sitting here with Mr. Dan Kernan and Mr. Justin Dawalga. Before you ask, last week's show was 2 hours long, so we had to fire Foley. And no, I'm just kidding.
Bring in Justin.
We had to bring in Justin. Hopefully, less of a talker. No, but in all
probably opposite.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, Coach Foley had some school-related stuff he had to do today. So he's already slacking week 2, but it's fine.
That's right.
He'll make up for it in the next few weeks.
Bring in the righty.
Yeah. But so yeah, it's this week really we're just going to talk. First of all, we're going to recap Interlake Soccer week. We're going to recap my week, and then on top of that, we want to talk because last week we talked a lot about boys soccer and football. So I figured this week we would talk about girls soccer, volleyball, and field hockey. And when we get to field hockey, we'll preview, or the information I have, preview the field hockey playoffs because that starts on Tuesday. So we can chat about that. I just realized I actually had handwritten notes and they're in my room right now, so that's good. We're killing it right now.
We're off to a great start.
We're off to a great start.
Break.
I was gonna say, yeah. Here's a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by USL.
Yeah, brought to you by
Of Concord.
Go see Justin today for your new phone. But yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, Coach, go through your week. I mean, how did it go?
It was a good week for us. I mean, the boys are playing well. We battled with we had Hillsborough Deering on Tuesday. They're another 8 or 9 win team. That just seems to be the par for the course here for our schedule. And we scored a couple goals in the first half and make that stand up. Hillsborough was good. They were a skilled team. We weathered the storm. I thought the goal we gave up was preventable. It was just another one of those kind of blips that our back forwards just, they're solid and they have a lot of work, but there's just sometimes they try to do a little bit too much, and I think that's kind of what happened, and Hillsborough was able to make it 2-1 with maybe 15-ish minutes left. So we still had the battle of the storm, and then we went to Farmington Friday and beat them 4-2. And realistically, it's a good week to have the last name Brown. Owen scored 2 goals to lead us in our game against Hillsborough. Luke had 3 of our 4 against Farmington. So I mean, we go as the Browns go, and those guys have been doing a great job for us so far. Unfortunately, Owen's a little bit banged up right now, so we're without him for this upcoming week. But we're going to do what we can to try to hopefully get into the playoffs. It's been a good week. The boys are playing well.
Nice.
Yeah, and to go on the Brown conversation, the Patriots are at the Cleveland Browns today, so who knows how that's going to go.
I'm shocked that you didn't know that already.
I'm a Bills fan.
Oh, God.
I don't even know who the Bills are playing, but I'm
They got Kansas City 4 o'clock.
Oh, that's right, the rematch. Yeah. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
should be good.
Josh Allen's afraid of the coin flip, but
Yeah, don't. Yeah, we all are. All of us Bill fans are afraid of the coin flip.
54.5 point over under, I believe, is the set.
now it's the 4-4-2 is still the primary formation for high school sports.
It depends on the program. We generally run a 4-4-2 for the most part, just based on the fact that if we are in our program, our midfielders have to work a lot.
Yeah, of course.
And if we go into a 4-3-3, then it's putting more work on
Right.
our midfielders.
Yep.
And a couple of my strikers or forwards are good at coming back and helping when need be. But sometimes they do have that, not necessarily label, but they're like, I'm up top. I don't necessarily have to come back all the time.
Right, of course.
So if I go more than two, I'm usually trying to get guys to come back more often than need be.
Now, is it a flat back four, or is it more of a diamond
we started the season in a diamond, yeah, and it was all right. But the guy I had at the top, who's a really good player as a sophomore, I found he was just going up a lot further than he probably should have been. So we turned it into. It's kind of a flat four, but it's more U-shaped, really. So our outsides are up a little further. But
makes sense.
Like I said last week, I mean, we're rotating guys in and out as the season kind of progresses through. Usually, I mean, this is year eight for me as the varsity coach. It's usually you play 12 guys, and here's your goalie, here's your back four, here are your midfielders.
With like 2 or 3 subs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so this year we've had, I've had guys play all 3 lines, midfield through forward. I've changed a goalie a couple times throughout the season. And in the first 8 years, it was never like that. It was just, here's our starting lineup, and let's go get it. It doesn't matter the team. That we'll change the formation based on, who we're playing. Obviously, we have Guilford and Mascoma this coming week, and, we might start in a 4-4-2 or we might start in a 4-5-1 just based on knowing that Guilford's, a very solid team, but at some point we're going to be having to attack a lot more than a 0-0 game like we've been playing lately.
Right, for sure. No, I hear you. So I guess we can just keep rolling. What do you got coming up this week?
So we're hosting Guilford on Tuesday.
That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be real tough. I mean, they're 14-0. Everyone knows that Guilford. It's Guilford's championship to lose. I can't imagine there's a D3 coach out there that's gonna be like, no,
we got this.
Granted, that's why we coach. Foley and I talked about it last week. I mean, we all coach for that elusive title. Like, that's what we're looking for.
Right.
And as long as Guilford's in the division, you have to put them as top dog. They're always a team that's at the top, and we spend a lot of time talking about them, but they're really good. They're a really, really good team. And, if we're at the end of the playoff push here, which I think we'll comfortably get in, maybe somewhere at, hopefully around that 13-14 spot. We've got 2 tough games left to go. No, it's no disrespect to the other teams in the division, but I personally don't want to go play Guilford Campbell. Those are the 2 top teams, and it's not really close. Like, there's some other, a 3 through 7, 8, 9. They're all kind of similar to each other, but like Guilford and Campbell are just those teams that you want to basically avoid at all costs. And that's
you want them in regular season, but not postseason.
Exactly. You don't want to have to go. I mean, we went to Campbell last year in the pouring rain in the first round, and they beat us pretty good. And it's not a fun bus ride at any point, let alone playoffs when it's raining. Guilford, it's at least a close ride, but you want to
quote unquote.
Yeah,
close.
but you're trying. As a coach, you're just trying to keep things as competitively as possible, and so here we are. We've got 2 tough teams going into the playoff stretch, which is what you want.
Right.
I would much rather play 2 playoff caliber teams going in than teams that you're going to win that aren't necessarily helping you as you get ready for playoffs.
Right.
When you start facing higher teams like this, do you think of defensive strategy, or are you thinking aggressive strategy? Because there's 2 ways of thinking about this. I played soccer for a long time.
Well, welcome to the interview with Dan, by the way.
The
podcast is switched.
Start playing with this as a coach, yes, you want to score and win the game. But realistically, if you come out at a tie, it's a win for you guys.
Yeah.
So what's kind of going through your head with something like this?
So I'm not a guy who's going to park the bus. We talked about we just Foley and I described that last week on like how that mentality is, and I'm not a bus parker.
Right.
We might set up a more defensive alignment or formation, like we talked about earlier with a 4-5-1, I might have a 5.
That's what we did.
I might
versus
have
Guilford
I
in
might have a 5-man,
06, 07.
a 5-man midfield, based solely on the fact that if we can get up and attack quickly in transition, we should have enough guys to get up and be a part of that.
I mean,
if we go with a 4-4-2, we have one less guy back on defense per se, sometimes. And Guilford's a team that you can be, they'll be in your 18 in 15, 20 seconds, and you look up, and I mean, we'll be in blue, so they'll be in white. There's gonna be 8 or 9 guys in that box, like, very quickly. So if you're playing a 4-4-2, Guilford's a tough team. Everybody's going to be within the defensive end when Guilford's down there. Yeah. And you're basically, weathering the storm and hoping that it's a decent result either way.
Right.
If it is unfortunately a loss, you want it to be like 3-0 at the most. Like they beat us 9-0 at their place the first time. Like we have a lot to do tomorrow to prepare to hopefully keep it close, because obviously they're a top team and you want to like feel good about yourselves team-wise going into the playoffs. And Guilford's tough. We've played, like I mentioned last week, I mean we've played Brady, St. Thomas, Belmont, Prospect Mountain. We've got Guilford for a second time. We've got Mascoma, Hillsborough, and Kearsarge. I mean, those are all teams in the top 10 this year. I mean, those are top 10 teams in our division of 24, however many it is.
Sure.
It changes all. It changes all the time.
Yeah, it's around that though.
I mean, we're playing a lot of the top teams, so we've had, for the most part, we've run a 4-4-2 all year long. Yeah. We've had a couple of games where like guys get banged up, and we just might drop into a 4-5-1 for a 10-minute stretch. Right. But we'll probably start in a 4-4-2 tomorrow or Tuesday against Guilford, just based on the fact that like we got to try to, if we can get one in early,
right?
It'll be a different.
That's
it'll
always
be a different
game changer in soccer. Yeah. You get the early goal.
And especially for a team that might, and I'm not saying they're doing this with you guys, but a team that might already be thinking, oh, we beat them 9-0. We got this, and then you get that early goal. It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, and and Pinkham won't have them do that, because Pinkham's been coaching for far too long to let those guys guys fall into that trap of of record looking or like record watching and stuff like that. I think Hillsborough and maybe Kearsarge probably looked at us and looked at our record and looked at our schedule, and they're like, maybe these guys only have 5 wins. Like they're probably not that good, or 4 wins at that point. And they're like, they're probably not that good. They're, they might have come in a little bit, taken us a little bit lightly. And for me as a coach,
take that any day.
This spring we were good. So like there wasn't a whole lot of like the rah where it's like we're the only people here who think we can win. Like there's everyone's counting us out. Whereas in the fall, I mean, we've been the underdogs we've played 14 games. I want to say we've been the underdogs for 13 of them. Like, there's not a whole lot of people that are like, no, Interlinks will, take care of this team and this team and this team. Like, so that we use that a lot to fuel us, and I think that helped us moving, against some of the middle teams like 8 through 10 or 7 through 10.
Right. No, I hear you on that. Well, I wish you luck with Guilford.
Yeah, I mean, they're a solid team. They're gonna be really good. I mean, they'll go as far as. They'll go. It's basically when we talk about it with any coach, it's theirs to pretty much lose. They were in the Final Four last year. They're in the Final Four the year before. It's never a rebuilding year with them. They're always just right there. I think it might still be a little bit early for the blonde hair. I don't think that'll come out yet, but it's coming soon. It's coming very soon. I mean, as 14-0, they usually do it when it's Final Four, or when they know they're going to get there. I'd be shocked if it's not coming within the next 10 days. Probably by the time we do our next podcast, when we're getting ready, they'll have the blonde.
What you were just talking about is how teams underrate teams, especially in the state of New Hampshire, because we're so spread out that you kind of have to not look at their record, but actually look at who they're playing.
Right. I mean, there were times where we had a record where, what was it? You guys played Kearsarge, and it was 3-1, and anybody's going to look at that and say, "Oh, Kearsarge." But if you go back and watch the game, you'll see that up until the 50th minute, the Lakers held them. We
scored 5 minutes in. It was 1-0 at halftime. I mean, they were good. They had a lot more skill than we did. But we took every punch that we could. we were weathering it for as long as possible.
Right.
They did score 3 in probably like a 15-minute window, but we had a chance to make it 3-2 with under 2 minutes left. The kid just made a great save on a PK.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, 3-2 makes it look a little more respectable than 3-1.
Right.
But it's like you said. I mean, we were a few minutes away from just potentially getting a 1-0 game, and we had a couple. We hit the post a couple times.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that just haven't bounced our way so far. So you're just kind of hoping that eventually that shot that's coming in that does hit the post and deflects out, eventually it hits the post and goes in. And we're getting to the point of the season where, like, if that happens against Guilford, against Mascoma, first round, we're probably going to be on the more positive side of it. And I mean, that's what we talked about a month ago when I told the guys I wanted 9 wins. That was our goal. And
that should be your goal
going
in.
And we're sitting here at 7. We're sitting here at 7, and we've got to beat Guilford and Mascoma to get to 9. But we're playing good soccer right now. We're playing the way that I've wanted to play all season, and it's the good time to be doing it. We don't want to kind of plateau 2 weeks ago when you're in the middle part and you're like, things are good. Like this, we're playing well. We want it to be like we want to be hitting that final stride going into next Wednesday or the following Wednesday, the 26th.
Right. I mean, that's the way it is in any sport. What league, like right now we're talking about the Yankees and the Guardians playing each other. You want to make sure the team you're rooting for, whoever you're rooting for. I know we kind of have a split room right now, but whoever you're rooting
it's
for,
2 against 1.
It's very
I was gonna say it's not very split, but like either way, we're not all Yankee fans like we were last
all
week.
Math majors.
Sorry. Anybody who knows me knows that I was not the math kid in high school. Still
It's
not.
all right. It might be just a coin flip.
I just had I
see what you did there.
I substitute taught a math class, and I got one of their problems right, and I was like, yes. And they're like, yeah, we're glad you got Algebra 1 down. And I was like, thank you. And I walked out of the room. Like, I was like, that hurt. But anyways, I lost my train of thought. But going back to what you were saying, Justin, was, you can't record watch. You can't sit there and say, oh, well, this team has a 2-3 or 2-7 record. They're not good, because you have to look at who you're playing. I mean, like that. Going back to the Interlakes Kearsarge game, there was more to it, but that just looks like an L in your column.
Yeah.
Whereas as soon as you say, oh, they play Kearsarge, you go, oh.
Well,
okay.
And that's what makes high school sports so fun, because anyone can win. Like, you have some teams
especially with the
you have
playoffs.
some teams that are really, really good, but like they get frustrated, and if you're a team that they consider not so good, and you stick with them and you hold them to a little while, like we played Hillsborough the other day, and they were arguing with each other like 10 minutes in. And that's good for us, because that means that we're doing things well that we want to do, and we're frustrating the team that might have the better record at the time.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at NHIAA and you're looking at the schedules and standings and all that, and you're like, oh, well, we played so-and-so. Well, I mean, you got to figure out how the game was. Like Prospect Mountain beat St. Thomas 4-1. They had a handful of PKs in that game.
Right.
Like St. Thomas is still a really good team, and Prospect Mountain's still a really good team, but like, you never know, like, who's sick, who's banged up, who might not have been there for academic reasons. Like, any given day, like, same thing in the spring. I mean, you could have played, like, this year. I mean, we played White Mountain twice. They had the player of the year.
Right.
Fortunately for us, I mean, we saw Hicks the first time he threw all 7. We saw him the second time, but he came in relief. So it's like, is that what the White Mountain team is obviously better when he's pitching? But if you're looking at who they played, like they might have played a team, 5-1, but it wasn't Hicks on the mound. It was somebody else on the mound. So you're like you never know. You can't just take on schedule and score and stuff like that. You got to try to dig deeper into the logistical part, which is why it's great that you're doing what you're doing, because it gives coaches like myself that avenue to go and watch a game that I might not have been able to get to because I had a game myself or we're at practice and it's tough to get away. Like I use DPPG a lot to scout teams.
But everybody does. I mean,
you'd be stupid
but
not to.
Everybody does.
You would be stupid not to.
No, but you would be a good coach always scouts team.
I appreciate the viewer count. It's helping the sponsor money. Thank you.
I'm dead serious. I'm going to tell you, my dad coaches. You know that.
Yep.
I used to travel miles just to go scout out teams for him. No one knew who I was. I would go watch, see what happened.
You were that creepy guy in the corner watching the basketball game? Interesting. Interesting.
I mean, I've gone it.
We got him.
I know.
We got him.
When I
We
go,
got him.
But now you can just do it right online. And
Right.
I think the thing of COVID, yeah, we didn't want it for the kids' purposes and be able to play sports, but you being able to stream these games and show them, and then you can watch those games.
Talk about hitting your stride.
well, I mean, I went.
No, but
Yeah.
it's the truth.
I know. Yeah,
and so
I
many
hear you.
and so many people are doing it. Like we
Right.
talked yesterday that we joked last week that we were like I tried to get Devin to go out to Berlin
Right.
and live stream our game up there, but I had already watched 2 full Berlin games because they had a local company up
Right,
there
exactly.
doing it.
Yep.
That saved me a 2-hour bus ride or a 2-hour car
Right.
ride that I was legitimately considering on driving up
Right.
there.
But
because
back in
I
the day,
hadn't
we
seen-
had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
way to be able to.
And now, and because I've been doing this for so long between soccer and baseball, I used to just kind of sit in the bleachers and kind of hide a little bit. I
Yeah.
wouldn't wear anything interlace.
Right.
I'm not trying to embrace it. I'm here
Wearing
watching
the Yankee
them.
jersey,
Yeah, but
saying I'm a
Yeah, I
scout.
know.
Yeah.
But now,
Who's your best player?
now I generally I went and watched Winnisquam and Mascoma, and I was talking to John, their AD over there, and there's the Winnisquam soccer coach came over and we talked for a little bit. I don't even care. Hey, I'm here to watch you guys play. It's only benefiting me and my program
And
to see what you
But
guys are
that's
doing.
what the good coaches do.
And I was gonna
And
say,
care.
and also it could be a compliment taken as a compliment for the Winnisquam coach to say we're doing something right enough to have other teams come and say, "What are you doing?
Yeah, you wanna
how are you
see-
doing this? You
And
know,
in
or
a-
not how, but
in a year where we don't play Winnisquam in the regular season.
right."
I mean, I can count on one hand. I've been coaching at Interlinks for 8 years now, both baseball and soccer, and I can probably count on 2 hands the amount of times I've played Winnisquam, and they're not that far away.
But
It's one we play them, twice every 10 years. It seems like.
But
So-
this is what this is another thing that New Hampshire sports has a problem with, is that ADs need to start opening this up more and try to find out ways to make travel a little bit closer. The games might be easier a little bit. I know NHIAA was talking at one point of doing regions,
Yep.
and then
That's kind of what happened with COVID. We played
but-
a regional schedule.
But that won't work because of the talent in certain areas. I mean, if you wanted to do regions like a North region, a Lake region, Southern regions,
Yeah.
have one school just play all that, okay, that works. But again, over the time, you say about Guilford, Guilford's a great team. Pinkham's a great coach.
Yep.
But how many times have we thought that as we played teams like Guilford, Campbell, Hopkins, all these other teams, that they could easily play up another division and still be competitive?
Yeah.
Or these teams that are back in the day, gonna show my age, Class I, Class M, and
Yeah.
everything
Oh, yeah,
else.
yeah,
These
yeah,
Class I schools are coming down and playing in lower divisions. So where is that medium to find out? I don't think we'll ever find out.
No, and it's such and Foley and I talked about it last week. I mean, he wanted a competitive schedule 5 or 6 years ago, and he had the guys to do that. And this year, I mean, they're a really good team. They're top. Without looking, they're probably 5th or 6th right now.
I'll look.
And they're a solid program. Foley runs a really good ship over there.
Yeah.
And he had said,
Sorry,
I know, right?
sorry.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Taking shots. He's not even here.
It's
I'm
great.
defending
And then
you.
he's gonna
I'm
hear
def-
this podcast,
I know.
and then
I'm defending you, Foley. Hope remember that.
He's
Oh,
four.
I'm on your back too.
But
so.
he mentioned last week, they had a down year for them last year.
Right.
But if you're one of those, it's unfortunate for the kids who are following that 3 or 4 year window of necessarily
Right.
dominance.
Talent.
They were.
Talent in the
He had a really good group for 4 years that just ran through everybody. They were competitive with Guilford. They were competitive with the Hopkintons. They were at the top of Division III for a 4 year stretch where I was coaching. And then then all those guys leave, and then what happens is you go up, and those guys who are sophomores getting thrown into varsity because you've graduated so many guys are getting absolutely just throttled because
Right.
your talent isn't as good as it was 3 years ago when you probably could have been competitive in that Division
Right.
II
But-
window.
Now with everything going on, I don't know if you guys heard, but the spot where kids can play on the off season and still work together is there going to be a spot for them in those areas? Because technically right now, we're losing those kind of programs.
Such as what? Like an AAU type program?
No, like indoor soccer or something like that, because
yeah.
we lost a lot of those. I mean, AAU is great to a certain point,
Yeah.
but when we play and stuff like that I found out when I was playing, we played indoor soccer, we played outdoor summer together.
Yep.
It's about playing together. It's not about me going to AAU and then coming back and playing on the team and say, oh, well, we should be better now.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
it's about, I would rather take average Joes that play all year round than a super athlete that went to AAU going to be on the U.S. national team or whatever.
Yeah.
But
realistically, you need more than
Realistically.
one or two players to get you to where you want to go.
it's about the,
Yeah, you got to have a group that comes
Exactly.
together. And not to go back to the spring, but like that's what my group was. I had 14 or 15 guys that knew right away from the very beginning that, like, we had a pretty good group. Like it was a special group. The guys got along.
that's when you know.
We hadn't done anything yet. We had won maybe it was what, COVID the year before, so we played like we beat Newfoundland in the first round of the regional tournament, regional whatever bracket. Then we went out to Berlin and we lost. And we probably didn't play as well as we probably could have. We graduated 2 kids, and everyone was coming back. So we were feeling good. I never once had a kid complain about playing time because we were doing well. I had a couple of people who were upset. Absolutely, you want to play.
Exactly.
But like that group of 15 kids was all like, okay, we're fully bought in. Like we're playing well, we're winning games. Like
That's when it's fun to
This
be
is
a coach.
this is what we want, and you're absolutely right.
That's what you're looking for no matter what.
Yep.
You guys could be like the worst team in the league, but if you have that chemistry and working together, that's the difference.
And this might come as a shock to some of the people who might be listening. There's been some times within the last couple of years where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Right.
I mean, I've been coaching at Interlake since the spring of 2008. So I graduated from there, spent my entire adult life there. And there have been times where I'm just like, I don't necessarily know if this is what I want to do anymore. Not like go somewhere else, but
Right.
like there have been times where I'm just like, I mean, I might want to like live my own life for a
Right.
little bit and then see what happens. And then you have that group of kids that just makes it that much more enjoyable to go to practice every day.
Right.
And on Saturdays, we practice in the spring for 3 hours. You got to really want to be there
Right, exactly.
for a full 3-hour practice.
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday. And we don't do it. We do it right first thing in the
Right.
morning, so it's done. And so you're there. I got guys there at 7:30, like setting cages up and getting ready to go. And when we're going through the playoff stretch, and I'm like, this is the most fun I've ever had coaching in my entire life. And immediately I'm just like, I'm absolutely coming back. There's not even a question. Because I'm having an absolute blast.
Right.
Right.
Whereas
making it
there's
worth it.
Exactly. But don't get me wrong, there's been some times where I'm just like,
You're pulling your hair
Yeah, I'm
out.
like, this is it. This is it. Like as soon as this season's
I'm
over,
done.
Yeah, I'm
done.
like, I'm washing my hands
It's
of it.
literally
like,
a drug.
I'm like, they can have like they'll go find somebody else and see what happens. But now it's just like, this is a lot of fun and I'm enjoying it so much that I'm just like, I'd be stupid to want to leave. Right. So now it's just like I've got like that hook back in. And now it's like that a little bit of an adrenaline rush where you're like, I can't wait to get to the next practice.
Right.
But it's not just the players, too. It's the outside noise, the parents, the school, all working together.
Yeah,
it's
for
not.
sure.
It's not just the kids.
That can make it fun or horrible.
You can have really good kids and have a awful,
and you could have terrible parents.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. You know, we.
I've been fortunate enough in the last few years. I've had a couple parents that were upset. But for the most part, I mean, one out of 100 kids throughout the year. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah. We get a lot of parent support. The school has been good the last few years of like, pulling together some of the stuff for the guys. I mean, this fall has been great. We had that, we had our night homecoming game. That was fantastic.
Watch that game back on DPPG, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Subtle plug.
It was absolutely. It was a good one for us.
Plug in.
I mean, the championship run in the spring was fantastic. I've never seen that many people at Prescott Park before ever in my entire life.
Yeah, I chose to go to softball for that. Day, but we won't talk about it.
That Guilford quarterfinal game was a lot of fun. It was stressful. Don't get me wrong. I'm still dealing with some aftermath of it, but it was a fun time. I mean, that spring really did it, and that kind of like, and I talked about it a lot with the guys in that moment. it's just like that group of 15 or 16 basically rejuvenated our athletic department in our school system, because I mean football's playing well right now. They just beat Fall Mountain yesterday. Girls soccer team is on the verge of potentially hosting a first round game, breaking some potential win records in a season. Girls volleyball is going as
it is. It's a lot different.
Girls volleyball is doing what girls volleyball has been doing for the last few years with Randy as a coach. He runs a really good ship. That program is fantastic, and cross country is doing some stuff, and golf just finished not that long ago. So like our athletic department's doing fairly well, and the baseball guys kind of brought a little bit more life into the area, and it was good. It was very good. It was fun.
They're D3 in volleyball?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
It's weird with volleyball, so.
Yeah, because you have like Laconia is D2 and some. Well,
yeah,
now
Laconia's D2.
Yeah,
too.
Laconia's been D2 or D3 in a lot of things, but I think now they're up into D2 for everything.
I mean,
but
talking about volleyball, I mean, you got Cobrown, Northwood, Oyster River, John Stark, Campbell, St. Thomas.
I was gonna say this is D2, correct?
Yeah.
Those are all D2 schools. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm just making sure people at home are going.
But again,
no,
like you got Winnisquam there, you got Laconia there, you got Guilford there.
That's half.
And then
half
down
the
at
Lakes
the bottom.
region, right?
Yeah, well, you
Basically.
got Kennett, you got Manchester Central, you got Plymouth, Sauhegan. I mean, that's a heavy hitting class for D2 schools.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of travel in those.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you sign up for. Like, I don't mind. Don't get me wrong. I would like to win every game we play, but I'd like it to be competitive too.
Right.
Like, I want our guys to learn and get something out of it, as opposed to just going and rolling and winning a game 5 or 6 to nothing.
Right, but
I don't care how long
there's
the
a
bus
certain
ride is.
level that I keep on talking about is that you can play up is really good for the kids.
Yeah.
But playing up too far can actually hurt the
Yeah,
kids
that can
too.
absolutely hurt you. Yeah.
And that's kind of where I have this to Tyler, especially with soccer. I mean, I played back in 07, like I said.
Yep.
I mean, Guilford's still been a juggernaut of soccer.
They have been for about 40 years. Yeah.
But again, it's like, where is that balance of what teams go which way?
Right.
And I think we've had this conversation all the way back 40 years ago of where do we put these schools? How do we decide what division they're in?
Right.
Back in the day, we used to do it by
it was all school. Yeah, it was all school population. Yeah.
And now it's by
it's still
wins
basically
and
it's
school
still
population.
Well, it's still
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, it's still student body. You can petition up if you're like a school that's really good at a lot of things,
or go down.
Hopkinton was one of those schools that was just they're D4 student population wise, but they were a really good school at everything: basketball, baseball, soccer, field hockey, you name it. And now they've basically gotten rid of the petitioning down. And if you do, you can't participate in a playoff.
Right.
So that's your double-ended sword. Like, do you want to be competitive
Right.
and not play in a playoff? Or would you rather go have an opportunity to make the playoffs, but have the opportunity that you might not win a game?
Right.
Like, that's the double-ended sword.
And not playing in the playoff, that's only for that first year. Like, you could petition.
I think so.
Yeah,
because all the schedules are done in a two-year window.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have one, and then it flips, and then they redo it again for the third year down the road.
Right. So, yeah, like you petition down, you're not eligible for that next year, but then the second year in that division you are.
Right.
I believe so. Yeah.
Interesting.
But I mean, there's not many schools that have petitioned down anymore. I think Manchester West is down into Division 3, but it doesn't matter. They've been losing games 7 or 8 to nothing, at least for boys soccer. I don't know about all the other stuff, but and that's the difficult part is you got to know your program. I've never had to petition either way because we're so low at the bottom of D3. We're closer to D4. The only bad thing if we went to Division 4 is we're traveling a whole lot more because we got to go to those northern schools that are a lot further away than Guilford, Belmont, Laconia. You know what I mean? Like,
Wicked far.
yeah, I'd rather play the Lakes region teams for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. All right. Well, cool. Let me recap what we did because we had 5 games and it was a good week. We had Berlin at Prospect Mountain and boys soccer on Tuesday, and that I don't remember what the final score was, but it was.
I think you said it was 4-1.
4-1.
Yeah.
Either way, it was a good back and forth game if I remember correctly. But Prospect definitely had the quicker step over the Mountaineers. And Berlin played well. Toward the end of the game, Berlin kind of showed what the stereotype of Berlin of let's play scrappy kind of came forward. But at the end of the day, it was they wanted to get a goal, you know, and they wanted, and I don't remember if it was 4-1 or 4-0, but either way, they wanted to get a goal and they were trying. Like I've been using the term, you mostly use it in hockey, but I've been using it in soccer, is crash the net.
Yep.
You know, you have 10 guys in the 18 just kicking it, hoping that something lands. Maybe
it doesn't have to be a pretty goal. It just has to go across the line.
Right, exactly. So
literally anything inside the 15, just shoot.
Just put towards the net.
Shot.
But no, that was a good game. On Wednesday, I went to Vermont. Thursday, we originally were going to go to Souhegan at Laconia, but Souhegan had a busing issue, and the only other game playing that day was Newfound at Guilford in boys soccer.
Can we shout out to the bus drivers and thank them for everything that they do for these schools?
Yes, so
because I know a lot of these bus drivers are shorthanded too.
He's trying to, get the invite back.
I know, right? Trying to get a plug.
Yeah,
no, it's the truth.
I know.
My mother-in-law is a bus driver down south, and I know the struggles getting bus drivers.
We've been fortunate enough this fall, and even then in the spring, we had. Usually it was the same guy or two. And he just saw it on the schedule. He's like, yeah, you guys are great. I'll pick you guys up anytime. So we haven't had – I mean, we went to Farmington the other day for a 4 o'clock start, and we left Interlakes at 1:45. We got to Farmington at 2:35. 2:40.
Shop at Johnson's on the way there.
You know, somebody else, Joe, I think it was Rob Stokes from the football team, asked that same question. But it was like we got there and, we had – probably too much time to warm up, really, but it's nice to get to a game and not have to rush,
right?
Or worry about getting lost on the way there.
Yeah, luckily,
or lost on the way home and doesn't get home until 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, luckily Farmington's an easy drive. It was only a varsity game, so we were back by 6:30, 6:45. So it was a decent day for us.
But yeah, the Newfound game was interesting because Guilford, they were up on them 5-0 by half. And then the second half, they cut it to 25 minutes because of the weather coming in, and it was.
Did they run out of rain tires?
Yeah, they ran. Oh, we're gonna bring in racing now. All right, no, but I mean, and they were just. I talked to the officials at halftime, and I was like, "What's the plan?" Because I saw the coaches walk over to them. Like I was like, "Okay, there is a little meeting there. Yeah. Like what happened?" And the officials were just like, yeah, we're going to do 25 minutes just because, the impending weather, which they timed perfectly because the final whistle blew and it poured. Like, it was like, okay, there you go.
Well, being an official, I understand that there's protocols behind that.
Right. I mean, and also you don't want players out there for the last 15 minutes. Let's say a Newfound gets desperate, all of a sudden the field's muddy, player gets hurt. In a desperate, and
it's one thing if you're playing on grass than turf.
Oh, yeah.
Turf, you're not canceling. You're just going the rest of that time anyway because you don't have to worry about field conditions.
Right. Guilford's field's usually pretty good.
Squeegee.
Yeah.
Get the squeegee out. But,
but I mean,
Guilford's field's usually pretty good.
And it rained most of the day. I mean, we practiced that day and ended up basically ending it around the same time that Guilford and Newfound did because it started to pour.
Right.
And if we had practiced the day before, they probably would have had the day off, realistically.
Right.
But I wasn't letting them have 2 days off in a row. That's absurd. And
That's absurd.
You don't practice in the rain? Come on.
If we were on turf, we were practicing on our grass field. So
no, I know.
You always have that worry is always in the back of your mind. Like if you're doing a possession drill or shooting or running to stay into shape, you never want to have them like the quick stop or transition where a kid just goes down. Like that's the worst thing you want to have. So we try to practice in all conditions if possible because we played in Farmington Friday and it rained a little bit. Nothing else.
Do you see more injuries on the turf than you do on grass? Because you're on the turf field more, but
we're basically only on the turf on game day.
Really?
Yeah. Well, so we'll practice.
That kind of shocks me.
We'll practice there tomorrow.
Again, like soccer. As well as I do, and a lot of our listeners probably do. Turf, the ball just likes to roll.
Yeah,
we
talked about that a little bit last week.
Yeah.
So you not being able to practice on it kind of is a disadvantage for you guys compared to being an advantage.
Yeah,
So what happens for us, unfortunately, and I'll plug it again, and maybe the powers that be will give it a listen. It gets dark at 6:00. And
they have lights.
and our kids don't get out of school until 3.
They don't have lights.
We have no lights on our field whatsoever.
That's right. DBP will do some
So
research.
We're working on it.
So-
we're working on it.
Put in portable
Exactly.
lights.
So
Yeah.
when we have
Anybody in
homecoming,
the area, please bring
Yeah.
in portable lights
exactly,
for them to practice.
or just bring in just put the permanent lights up.
There's that too.
So what happens?
Put cars on the
so
outside.
basically, what happens for us is our turf field is basically game field only.
Okay.
Between middle school and high school football, girls varsity soccer. I have boys varsity and JV. I mean, there's 6 teams right there.
Yeah.
And we have one turf field. And so, like, fortunately for me, JV football is away tomorrow. So they're gone. That's one less team. And football played on Saturday, so they're going to have like a walkthrough film practice. So they're probably not going to need it. So it's open. We play on Tuesday, so it's good. Wednesday, I think we're at Prescott, so we're practicing on grass before we play Mascoma on Thursday. But we have a varsity JV game Thursday, and our girls team has their senior day on Friday. So they have a game on turf Friday, and they will not be on the turf at any point next week until it's game time, because it's just one of those, like, if it was just a varsity game and we started it at 3:30, they'd be able to get maybe half an hour on the turf before it gets dark. So it's an advantage to us because we can play at any conditions for the most part.
Have fun in Mascoma. Their field is.
They're coming to us, so we don't have to worry.
Okay.
I got 2 home games left. We're good. We're good.
I was going to say, I remember a rainy day as heck in Mascoma.
Yeah, they rotate
we played
that.
soccer all the time there.
Yep.
And the field just kept on getting eaten up.
Yeah, so
there.
it's basically a game field. So a lot of the teams are in the same boat. We got it a ton early on because we're one of the few at Interlakes that do doubles. So we'll have a double session for the first week. So we're there in the morning.
Yeah.
And then we're
doubles
at Prescott for the most part in the afternoon, so you can get both.
Yep.
Both surfaces to get used to. But realistically, if you're not there the day before, you have a little bit of an advantage because you've played on it a little bit. But like, Guilford, it's not going to take Guilford long to get used to it. It probably won't take Mascoma long to get used to it. So you're kind of in that same boat when you're having your 45 minutes of warm-up time to get used to it along with the other team.
Everything else.
I mean, and that's helped us. Like here, Sergeant Hillsborough, you can tell we're a little bit. They were better. They were good, skilled teams, but it took them a little while to get used to the turf, so that helps us a little bit. But when you don't get on it,
right.
I mean, I don't work at the school, so I have to leave my full-time job early to go practice at 4:00 every day. And next week, it'll probably be even earlier because it's going to start getting dark here a lot earlier than 6:00. So I'll probably have to leave even earlier than that, which I enjoy because it's not fun working a full day every day.
Right.
But eventually,
we'll put glow lines down for you guys.
Yeah,
well,
there
that's
you go.
That's
Glow in
the
the dark
thing. I
paint.
mean, we just had the turf and track replaced, so it's naturally the next step is to redo that venue so it's a little more user friendly.
You got the turf back in the
They put it in 2000. The first time was the August of 2007. It opened up.
I knew it was close to there.
Yep, I graduated high school and then they put turf in. And then they just replaced our turf this.
So that's why the turf
spring.
is still good.
Yep.
Yep. Dan stopped. Dan isn't playing on it.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm coaching on it all the time. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Turf is fun.
There's some great grass fields that we've been on, but I mean, I'd take a turf field any day.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily knock on
I'm
wood.
different. I like the traditional bounce and stuff like that, but
But like knock on wood, we haven't had. This has been a fairly clean injury year for us. We've had some guys who are banged up, but it's not.
We got you.
It's not necessarily a surface issue. It's just a pull, strain, or we have a concussion going on now that has nothing to do with the turf. It's just one of those fluky things. So we haven't had many turf or grass injuries.
now getting into the concussion thing with the
I should have brought a
NFL and
bell.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just
around
saying.
the horn.
Yeah.
Around the horn. With the concussion thing of seeing like Tua in the NFL, has that changed anything down at the high school level? Or was it
Not
already...
necessarily because it was already strict to begin with.
Okay.
So you can't start going through the protocol and the steps to get back. I can't even remember the process of getting back into play. You can't start that until you're symptom free.
Okay.
So that's no headaches, no sensitivity.
Yeah.
You're basically back into normal life.
Man, I got
And
concussion
then
protocol every day then.
as soon as you start, if there's any inclination that you have a symptom whatsoever, you start over. So
That's good.
they take it and they make sure that, and that's
That's
how
great
it
to
should
hear.
be. That's
Yeah,
how it should be.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't know if it affected anything.
We haven't. So this is our first one of the year, and our athletic trainer does a really good job at getting kids back and going through the steps. What we have to do. COVID, that protocol was a little bit different,
Right.
Because
It was a whole.
we
new world.
used to do it, and we were on the very strict side, and I understand why. Like you never know, like the heart and lungs and what that person might be doing because it's different for everyone.
Right.
But now you basically can just get a doctor's note that says, John's good to go back to play, no reason to be weaned back into it. You can't do that with a concussion.
Right.
I can't have a kid go to the doctor and just be like, oh, he's cleared to go back to play.
You're good.
And then absolutely not. Like you've got to go through that. So it takes. I talked to my assistant coach. I mean, he needs to start by Wednesday at the absolute latest,
Right.
or he's out of our playoff game. There's no way we can push that any quicker.
No,
like
you
it takes the full 7 days, and I wouldn't ever be the coach. It's like I
Right.
need him back.
Right.
Like no, that part. At the end of the day, it's just a game for us. Like it's a playoff game. It's great to be there, but you're not jeopardizing a student
Kid's life.
athlete for that. And
Right.
I wouldn't do that even if there was a little bit of doubt that
Right.
he would be fine.
was
Like,
gonna say-
you just can't do that.
You got to look at it also as like big picture is, this one game, is it worth him getting hurt for the rest of his life?
Yeah, and
and
like we had
and
talked
that's like
about,
big picture, but
the
still.
concussions kind of went on the back burner for a while because when you look at the NFL, like you see one on a Sunday, and then it's either the following Saturday or Sunday, they're right back out there, and it's like.
Well, they can
Granted-
do
and like-
it. We can do it.
And like, granted, like, yeah, they're in peak physical form. Like, this is their job. Like, they're in that shape that they should be able to. But like,
They're-
you can't work. You can't necessarily work out your brain. Like, that,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that is you just can't go to the gym and just be like, all right, I'm gonna go hit this for half an hour to re-strengthen it.
Think.
Like, you know what?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, that's something that.
I'm gonna go read a book.
It's an unfortunate thing that it happened to Tua, and it's a terrible look for
Yeah.
the NFL. It's
Right.
an absolute terrible look. And then you had what happened to Naheem Hines and the Colts on that following Thursday game. Like he played 3 snaps and he got up and did.
Look at Hoyer.
and he was bad. Like all those guys.
One hit on Hoyer, but then didn't look bad.
Exactly.
He didn't stumble at all.
and now
but
you're-
he's pulled out. Like,
Yep, and now you're at that part in the game where it's like, okay, we've had a couple of plays that look bad, and how are you going to bounce back from that? So,
Right.
fortunately for us at the high school level, your hands are tied.
Right.
You basically are at the mercy of the protocol, which is good because
It
you
protects
want
the coach.
It protects everyone involved.
Right.
Everyone involved from the top down.
I mean, you see it with even in the broadcast when it's a simple injury, like it could just be like a cramp. The
Yep.
player still gets walked off.
Yep.
And the athletic trainer still gives them a full shakedown.
Exactly.
Or maybe that's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Still gives them the complete evaluation, even if like I didn't hit my head. Well, we're still gonna make sure you're good. You
Yeah.
know, oh, I had a cramp. I hit the turf. Well, we want to make sure your head didn't whip.
Right.
You know, because you don't want to have a player go back out there and then.
And then
have
5
a-
minutes later, there you got to take him back out because Dan, I have a headache.
Right,
Or,
Yeah.
exactly.
the sun's bothering me or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So we've been fortunate enough in my 8 or 9 years, we've probably only had 3 or 4, 3 or 4 maybe. I mean, we practice heading very limited, just based on the fact that like
You do it
it's
repetitively.
and it's realistically it's a luck thing. I mean,
It's a luck thing.
realistically,
yeah.
I mean, you
Don't
gotta
tell football
you
stars
gotta-
overseas
you-
about that.
But you gotta. You gotta have a perfect cross and then a perfect finish,
Right.
and you can only like how many times can you replicate that in practice?
Right.
So like we do it very very limited because based on the fact that it takes a lot to be perfect at it,
Yep.
and I don't want to have them take that unnecessary hit.
Right, just in case.
For,
yeah.
Just exactly because
Yeah.
we've had it happen in practice with a kid just getting drilled in the head with a ball, and it's unfortunate. But he was out for a couple of weeks for it. Like there's just
Right.
if it's something that you can prevent,
Right.
you're going to try to go the
Exactly.
other
Right.
route
I mean,
anytime.
and even if you were able to get that perfect cross 10 times, you then find out that player's breaking point is 7 times. You know, or like after 7 constant hits for 10 minutes in a row, you know, from soccer practice,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're like, whoop, we didn't mean to do that, but we did that. So like I get what you're saying.
Yeah, we very rarely do it, and if we do, we're doing heading work, probably not even the width of the camper right now. Like
Right.
it's not It's a very lightly thrown.
You just exposed where we've been
I know,
recording.
right? Exactly.
For
now, we'll
yeah.
get another place in mind, but
So much.
we gotta get a plug first.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
I thought
Like
we were in the basement.
it's
My
very.
bad.
Wait a minute.
It's very controlled. It's a softly tossed ball,
Right.
Yeah.
so it's nothing major.
Yeah,
at
I
all,
mean,
but-
yeah, exactly. And I've seen, actually, I think the first time I ever met you was one of the times I came and scouted Interlakes, and you guys were doing a corner kick drill. And, like, that was probably a great example of just that one time where it's like, okay, this is a live action. If you get a header, great.
That's when we go.
You know.
That's when we're going full speed. You must head the ball.
Right, exactly.
There's
but, like,
no-
you're not, like, saying, okay, again. Like, let's
Yep.
do it again. Like, it was just like, okay.
And in our program, notoriously, I've told our guys, defensive end, if you have to head the ball, head the ball. And offensive end, if you're heading the ball, you got to head the ball. But basically, from 20 to 20, there's no reason to.
Right.
Because I don't want my guy getting it on the end, like a goalie punt. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No reason for that. Use your chest or your shoulder and take it that way. There's no point in taking a ball that's being punted 40, 50, 60 feet up in the air and just getting domed with it.
Sorry.
So we basically shut down that middle of the field.
Right.
And if you can get another part of your body on it, that's the part that we're trying to do.
Or shield off.
I was
Exactly,
thinking of a Scott Sterling video where they were like, and here goes the ball. He's
Well, I know.
good.
Yeah,
Like, that's why I was
exactly.
laughing.
Exactly.
But,
Oh my
But-
gosh.
hey,
Now-
before
now-
we get sidetracked, don't even.
And then what did you have? That was just your game of Thursday, right? You didn't do anything else?
Yeah, no. So then on Friday we had back on the main track here. Then on Friday it was cool. We had a doubleheader at Prospect for volleyball. One of them was the players only broadcast, and if you haven't,
Good show.
yeah, it was awesome. They did a great job. Ella Mashazik and Sophia Bean did a fantastic job. It was a lot of fun because they were just like, the whole point of it was, okay, we're gonna have these two varsity athletes who know the sport but have never announced before. Just go, and obviously
Throw them to the fire.
yeah, and obviously we went over like, okay, you can't swear, like the broadcast rules, but it was awesome, and I don't necessarily consider myself a professional, but having two amateurs announce, like, they look at me and they're like, are we going to commercial break? And I'd be like, yeah, and they would just go, commercial! And that was it. It was like, okay, fire. Yeah, and it was just so much fun. They had a blast. That broadcast got more views than the varsity broadcast, which I didn't.
Wait, are we supposed to say commercial?
No,
Not this. There are no commercials here.
not yet.
Plug here, please.
I was gonna say, if you'd like to sponsor our podcast, reach on out to us.
US
But
If you want Justin Moore, put in here.
Insert ad here. But no, it was a lot of fun. They had a great time. The school also embraced it. Prospect Mountain, like, the principal came over and took a photo of us and wound up tweeting it onto his page, and it was awesome. Like, to have that be our first time doing it and have everybody be like arms wide open, let's do this. It was fantastic.
It's a good experience for kids,
right.
to just kind of see a different avenue of how
Exactly.
high school sports are particularly going to be going.
Right.
Like, this is an avenue that you see in colleges and obviously professional. Like, you see a lot of stuff live streamed, and if you could, you do a ton of games all year long, and it's nice to kind of be like, oh, this is what he has to go through
Right.
per game all the time. Like, when we watch it online, I don't think about all that part.
Right.
Like, I don't think of the constant, like, how long it takes to set up.
Why is the camera facing that way?
Yeah.
I
I want to
don't-
see the action.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't ever think about that part. I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm here to scout.
Right.
And my guys watch your stuff a lot too, and they're just like, okay, they don't ever think about the background.
Right.
I will say though, I was at football yesterday, and some of my baseball guys were adamant that they get mic'd up this spring. They absolutely want to have a microphone.
We
on.
need a sponsorship for that.
Yeah, no.
Just kidding.
we need AD permission for that, but okay.
I know. Well, luckily, I told them, I was like, I don't know if I can get you two guys, especially in the positions you play. I'm all set with that.
In the
Like, you're
language.
gonna- I'm like,
Just
you're gonna-
imagine the language.
I know. I'm like, you guys might get me in trouble.
Devin's
That's it.
over here muting every 2 seconds.
The broadcast is delayed by 5 minutes because I need time to edit this.
I know, right?
No, but I mean, yeah, it was so cool because, like, I went back and I clipped like a 10-minute highlight reel because I understand nobody necessarily wants to watch an hour and a half volleyball game. So here's a 10-minute clip, and as I'm editing it, I didn't realize in the moment, but I realized afterwards. Like, Ella was sitting right next to me, and we had a camera on them to show their like excitements and everything. Half the time she was watching what I was doing on the computer. So going back to what you were just saying, like you could just tell that like there was that, oh, that's how that works. Oh, that's how that goes. Because I mean, and I don't even think of it. It's all second nature to me now. You know, I'm just like, oh, here we go, replay.
But that's
then
going back to virtual learning and seeing it happen. You're
exactly.
Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, like and having her like, and even Sophia did it a couple of times where they would like look at my computer and they'd be like, oh, okay, that's happening now, and it's like, yep, here we go, instant replay, and they'd be like, cool. Yeah. So that was also cool for me because it was like showing. As the nerd,
you're showing off your brand.
Exactly,
you're
like
showing off your brand, and that's
showing off what we're doing behind the scenes.
And when you started this, all those years ago with Belmont, right? Because that's what you started with.
Yep.
You were just basically with Foley,
right?
And then it kind of broadened into what it is now, which is a really great brand that you're showing off to not just me or other coaches or families of people who might not be able to get to games. You're showing that like. To the student population, my guys love when you're at games because they get to show off
and they like we're on TV now. You know we got to play harder, stronger. We don't
exactly.
Want to look
you know what I mean? Like
right.
And not to kind of push into the next thing you covered, but like look at Noah Salamanca.
Right.
That kid loves DPPG. He anytime you're at our school for any event, he's making it known that. We're being live streamed.
Yeah,
like I see. I follow on Instagram. Like he's on when you were at volleyball for I don't even know who they played, and he's across the court.
He's sitting there making it
exactly like he's
making it known.
He's trying to get on that broadcast. And yesterday he scores a touchdown, and makes it known that DPPG is there.
Yeah, and he grabbed our sideline camera. And was like, look, and he had our shirt on. He pulled up his jersey, and there's our shirt.
Exactly,
and he's just like,
exactly, and that's a kid who absolutely one enjoys life,
right,
and two just enjoys the atmosphere that a live streamed game gets. Because I mean, we've all watched enough high school football to know, like, celebrating after you score frowned upon. It is. It's give the ball back to the official and go to your sideline. You can celebrate a little bit there.
It's a New England thing.
But like he went right over to the camera. I didn't see it live.
Yeah.
I had to see it. I saw it later on when I was like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But then when I saw who it was, I was like, that's normal. That's normal
that
Noah.
Makes sense.
I mean, I've watched that kid run sprints outside the track while the girls' team was like doing fitness or whatever, and he's running the sprints with the team out on the outside. Like that's just a kid.
Awesome.
That's just a kid who's genuinely enjoys the moment that he's in.
But can we talk about how much Devin really enjoys doing what he's doing? That it's not really a
what
he's not
just
really
turned on me. Okay,
no,
but it's for a positive.
It's a good thing. I know. It's like, well,
you're not going for the money. You're doing it because
thank you for telling everyone I'm broke.
No,
just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I won't interrupt you.
Your heart's in the right place, and your drive is because you enjoy doing this stuff. It's not because you want to be a multimillionaire. It's not that you want to be there. It would be nice to, but
one day we'll have the
Tesla.
Tesla.
But what I'm saying is that your
and lights at Interlakes.
Enjoyment is more than anything else. Right. It's not all about the money.
And that's what you try to do.
That's what this broadcast is all about. That's why DB Plus is making it. It's because the love for the business that you're doing.
And that's,
I don't get paid here.
Yeah,
he doesn't get paid here. We just see, when we see your emotion to high school sports and getting it out there brings in coaches like Foley, him, me, want to be on the show because we see your passion for it and we want you to succeed.
And as a coach, like, yeah, I spend 2 hours a day with these guys every day for 3 months, and we don't talk soccer or baseball. Like it's basketball, it's hockey, it's school, it's life, it's all of that. And you know, I went to college, I did that part.
Me too.
And it's like you just try to preach to those guys that you're with, like you want to find something to do with your life that you enjoy.
Right.
Because, you know, I've had a couple of jobs that I don't necessarily like getting up to go do. I would do this all day long.
Me too.
I'm working on it. I'm working on getting the pay. Don't worry.
If I could coach full time and
I
still
would.
be able to live life and pay
Right.
bills, you would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's so much more enjoyable than the 9 to 5
Right.
or the 7 to 3:30 or whatever it is that you're in. And you try as a coach. For me, I try to push kids into the direction of like, yeah, you want to make as much money as possible,
But money's
but at the
not
same
everything.
time, like you want to be able to live your life.
But let's be honest.
Because when you retire at 55 or 65 or whatever it is, like how much life could you possibly have after that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you want to live in the now
Right.
and enjoy what you're doing in the now.
Exactly.
And that's where you're at is you're able to just, one day, hey, Sauhegan's not coming to Laconia.
Right.
You could have taken the day off and done literally anything.
Right.
But you're like, oh, let me go to Guilford.
Right. Let's go
Watch
get another game.
Watch a game that you know isn't going to be that competitive, really. Like not to take a shot, but like it's Guilford boys soccer.
Right.
They're not playing that many, and you're doing that in the element of the rain.
Yeah, that was fun.
You know what I mean? Like, but not people aren't going to do that
Again,
Right.
necessarily.
It's not a shot at you. I went to college, and I didn't even use college.
Yeah.
You went to college. Did you use your college degree? No.
Currently, right now, no.
Currently, right now, no.
You didn't go to college, right?
No, I did.
Okay.
He didn't finish. COVID got in the way.
Well,
But
no,
again-
no.
Oh, no,
I did.
you did.
I was
You
gonna
did
say I
finish,
got
you
my
did finish,
associate.
yeah.
I got my
Okay.
associate's degree.
All right. But
Thanks.
So, I know, right?
He's the college
This is
dropout. It's
where
fine.
I'm just going to take over for Foley. He would have said the same thing.
this is where I'm coming from, is that a lot of programs are pushing kids to college first instead of actually finding what they want first.
Oh, yeah.
Go find what you want first.
Oh yeah,
And then the business and everything else will pay for that.
literally.
And
I
if you're just what you're doing with these players only broadcasts, and I personally hope it continues, you're giving another avenue that very well might not be there.
Right.
Like I know Interlakes has they call it the Laker News,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a weekly or bi-weekly broadcast
Yeah.
where
That's cool.
where they just talk about some of the stuff that's going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be sports,
Right.
but it's something
Yeah.
going on in the community. And
That's awesome.
And the class that started it, they were outstanding. They were probably one of the most school-spirited groups that have come through Interlakes in my time there in 15 years.
right.
And one of them is down at Bentley. He's up there. He's doing a lot of really good stuff with their school, and he was our hype guy on the soccer team.
Yeah.
Like that kid would run through a wall and get everybody in the entire school pumped up, ready to go. And another one that's doing it, I mean, she's at UConn and just spent all summer working with ESPN. Like
That's awesome.
And that's an avenue
But-
that if you don't necessarily have that opportunity to figure it out at 15, 16, 17, you might not ever go that
or
route.
even get the start. Like,
Right. I mean-
he's exposing opportunity that was there.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, there's no one that really talks high school sports. And that's what this podcast is all about,
Oh, yeah.
is that exposing and allowing the information to come out about
Yeah.
these high school sports. Because high school sports do matter.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
they will find their spot someday out there in the bigger world.
And basically
No, but it's the truth.
and everyone, I mean, for every 20 some odd kids you have on a varsity sport, how many of them, very limited number have the opportunity to play in college?
But back in the day, how many people actually got to be opportunity to show their
Exactly.
stuff?
Right.
Exactly. Whereas
Now
like
with
now,
this,
yeah,
they can be
anyone
like, hey,
can
check
do
out
it.
this game.
Yep. You
I
can
played for
basically
this person.
And I had a kid who used a lot of the film from your games to make his highlight reel to send off to schools, because it was an avenue that I always have the thought of like, oh, I want to record all these games. Like I'd love to, just
Right.
for my own benefit to watch. But then, like, you work full time, you're running practice, you got to get to the bus, you got to fill out your lineup, you got to try to handle all your kids.
Yeah.
And then what? Now I got to trust a kid to run a camera
Right.
and not swear, because if anything comes up on that camera, now I'm the one that's got to
Right.
go and
Exactly.
do something
Another
about it, potentially.
reliability.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and I don't necessarily want to do that. So it makes it harder for the coach. Whereas in your avenue, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Interlakes football uses the game film for a fee.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's an absolute no-brainer,
Well,
because
for
they
a
used
good
to have
coach.
they
For a
used
good
yeah
coach,
exactly
it's
they
no
used to
brainer.
have they used to put a high school kid in the back of a pickup truck.
I think
Yep.
they still
Wait,
do. By the way,
they
I
might.
think they still have
They
like
might
that. And that's,
but like it's a 40-year-old camera, and you got to trust that kid to get every single play. And if you miss one as a coach, you're upset because that one play might have been the make or break or
Right.
something you want to work on
Right.
or something like that. And you know how football is here. I mean, come on, it's the be all end all.
But when
right.
But back in the day, football wasn't.
No,
And
it was
with-
very slow moving when we were in high school. yes.
Quiet. It wasn't really known for. But with the broadcasting of it and talking about it, it's making it more hyped and more opportunities for these kids.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I like about it. And Devin and I have been talking about other things on the side. I don't know if that's going to go, but
We'll see.
We're going to try. But there's a lot of different avenues that you have.
Yeah, and it's just you're giving an option. You're giving an option and opportunity to kids who might not
have the opportunity,
who might
or
not
could
have,
afford
or might not have even known about it.
it.
Right.
Like I have some kids that would absolutely love broadcasting a game. They're going to be absolutely. I mean, they're high energy kids that sometimes say things that they probably shouldn't.
Well,
but it's never
hang
like
on.
it's never like in a negative way. It's just the way they say their normal sentences that are just like, oh, okay, probably shouldn't say it like that. You got to reword some things.
Right.
Word that
But
a
like-
little bit.
We say that about Devin, too.
No, I know, but it's just like
We can't replace him.
It's been a good. It's what you're doing in our area has been
amazing.
has been really good because you necessarily probably don't get that feedback that you probably should.
Just imagine if this was around when we were in school. Like, how many kids would actually be
Oh,
like...
I'm absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't have even gone to school. I'd have just gone and tried to do this. But,
Right.
I went the college route and it was fine. Like, don't get me wrong. It was an enjoyable
but-
time. Like, it helped me figure out, like, what I want to do in life.
Right.
But, like, it's a fun thing. And
Yeah.
as a high school kid, don't get me wrong. Like, they enjoy being at school, but the sporting life is what they really enjoy.
Yeah, that's what
regardless of the season.
That's all they go
regardless-
for
yeah.
is the sport.
Right.
Or any activity outside, like band and
Yeah.
stuff like that, too.
I mean, I knew what I wanted to do since I was 12 years old when I started my web show about racing.
Yep.
And then high school sports just kind of helped mold that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
even
and-
then,
But that's you being pliable to go to what's going to help you grow the business. And
Right.
that's what it was.
yeah. But no,
What else did you do?
I was gonna
this
say
week?
thank you guys. I was gonna say thank you guys. I did not expect that.
That was not part of the show notes.
No,
that was
that
not
was-
part of the show
that
notes.
was
for-
That's just
unscripted.
us.
Holy-
for the
About
podcast.
the same
I
age.
know, right?
so
Yeah,
we
exactly.
understand.
I was gonna say, and they keep bringing up when they were in school. When they graduated, I was 7 and 8 years old. Just to not to make you guys feel old.
Way to just
but-
hit
but
us with the bus.
I
huh?
figured.
That was a low
Come
blow.
on, I know.
I
We just
figured
said-
I
we
would
I'm
just
just
out
said
for a week.
all that really nice
You
stuff
guys-
we said, and it's like, hey, these guys are old.
By the way, no, I just wanted to make sure.
It's all right.
people-
I have high school kids tell me all the time. They're like, Dan, you got to be like 30. I'm like, yeah, I wish. I absolutely wish. Absolutely. I'm like, you're going to get more playing time talking like that.
But no, I mean, I've to go back to what you just said about with the college thing. College is a great route if that's what you want to do.
Right.
I mean, I substitute teach at Guilford. I had a senior class once. Guidance came in. I hope I don't get fired for this. But guidance came in and they were like, hey, this is what you want to do. If you're going to college, you're going to college, going to college. And they left and I walked in front of the class. I'm like, that's a great option. But think about it this way. And I told them my story. I'm like, I'm not making millions right now or anything.
You're not looking to do that.
But
no.
exactly. It's like, but
You enjoy
the-
what you're doing.
exactly. And I'm like, and that's like half the battle. Like if you leave high school and you
Money
say
will come.
exactly, you don't want to leave high school and say, okay, time to go make money and then sit behind a desk for the next 40 years. Go in. I mean, and if that's the way
What's
you
wrong with
want to
sitting
go.
behind a desk.
As I'm sitting behind a desk right now, but my point is if that's your route, if that's what you want to do, all the power to
Right.
you. But there is also, it's also okay to sit there and be like, you know what, I want to go forge my own path.
Right.
Which is, I was never a leader, or no, let me phrase that. I was never a follower.
Right.
I don't know. I don't.
Well,
wanna,
you're following me
gonna,
on
it's gonna say
TikTok.
Well,
and
yeah.
everything else now, so.
Not that type of
Oh,
follow.
okay.
Jeez
My bad.
Louise. But I was never, I was never a follower. I always said to myself, "You're all going that way. Well, I'm gonna go this way,
Yeah.
even if it means I gotta forge my own path."
Right.
But no, I appreciate what you guys just said, and it's been a lot of fun, and I love what I do, and Dan can attest to this. And actually, when I posted it on Instagram last night, my first thought was Dan's gonna go, "Holy crap!" But I was driving home from Vermont at 1 a.m. last night, and I was like,
I'll be honest. I saw it because I was awake still. I was awake. It's usually the way it's been the last few month or so. It's basically like a night owl. You sleep,
I was supposed to
you sleep for a little bit, and then you're like, oh, I saw that, and I was like, he was like 10. It was like podcasting in 10 hours, and I'm like, oh god, is that really what it is? I'm like, I guess I could sleep for maybe if I get 6 hours.
I was
good.
supposed to be out that late too because I had a wedding to go to, but my kids were sick and everything else, so we stayed home.
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
I love weddings. You talk about
I was
free
gonna say,
food.
I was gonna say I'm DJing a wedding in January, and actually
need help?
this is the
Let's
no,
go.
Well, no, so this is
Wedding
this, I was
crashers.
gonna say this is the perk of my job. It's in Florida with my friend.
Oh, in January.
Of
January.
course, it's in Florida.
And hold on, as soon as soccer season's over, I'm flying down there for a week to scout everything. And she's like, "Yeah, I mean, you could write it off on the business." And I'm just like,
That's fantastic.
I get to go to Florida and write it off? Yes. Thank you. That's a tough life.
I'll go with you.
I was gonna say that's a
I'll
tough
help.
life as a business owner.
Wow.
Putting $75 in my gas tank yesterday, also tough. But
That's par for the course nowadays.
high and lows of running a business. But anyways, no, I mean it was so much fun with Ella and Sophia, and like afterwards they were messaging me and they were just like, "Thank you, we had so much fun. It was so much fun." Blah, and I even was just like, "Hey, if you guys want to do a game in basketball season, just let me know."
Right.
And they were like, "Yeah." And I'm like, and honestly, I'm like, I'll even do one further. I'm like, we do hockey. If you want to come try hockey, like I'm like, I don't know what sports you're into. I'm like, but if you want to come do another sport, I'm all for. Even if it's like them or just one of them and me, like however it goes, I'm like, I'm all for it. And they were like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So sky's the limit on that.
So a lot of different opportunities for
Yeah.
you guys out there too.
Exactly. I mean, and for
reach out.
I was going to say, for sure, yeah. For the student athletes listening to this right now, reach out. I mean, there is a little bit of a process we have to go through where I have to like take your name to the athletic director or the coach and say, hey, dude, is this kid going to be good? Or are we going to get the kid who comes on and goes, oh my God, that was effing awesome. And it's like, whoa, that's a live stream. Yikes, can't edit that. But like with the mic'd up thing, we purposely record that audio only.
Yeah.
We don't live stream it. So like for the baseball players, I mean, we did it with a softball player last year at Prospect, and we recorded her audio to the camera, and she was perfect. There was never anything bad. But if she did, we were able to edit out. Yeah. So, but anyways, it was so much fun with the Players Only broadcast. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out on our website. If you don't want to sit through the hour and a half, or actually I think it was like 50 minutes because of a JV volleyball game, but we did clip like a 10-minute clip on our social media accounts. The varsity team, I guess we can kind of segue into the talking about the girls' sports off of this game, because the varsity game had Somersworth at Prospect Mountain, and it was a good game, but it was. So Somersworth and Prospect played each other in the first game of the season. Prospect lost to Somersworth by 2 points in the fifth set. So Prospect literally came to me. We were supposed to go to Newfound and Trinity at first, and then everything with Trinity's kind of going on, and we won't get into that. And then on top of that, the more deciding factor was I had a staffing issue. So I wasn't able to go up to Newfound. So I just wound up going to Prospect, and it was so fun because the girls for Prospect were like hyping this game up. Like they're like, they beat us by 2 points. Like, not to seem too extreme, but they were looking for blood. Like you could tell, like they were like, we're gonna beat them. It's our senior night. We got this. They lost set 1, and my first thought was, crap, because it was like 25-8, and I was like, uh-oh. But then they beat them in set 2 and 3. Somersworth beat them in set 4 and then just shut them out in set 5. It was a good match.
Yeah, it sounds like
it was, and like looking back,
2 versus 5
yeah,
seed right now.
Yes,
like.
Yeah, like it was great. It was a great match. We had people from actually at the football game yesterday at Interlakes. They came up. Oh yeah, we watched the volleyball game. We watched the volleyball game because, we're kind of, Interlakes might play them, but it was a good game, and like people, like it attracted people from all over the Lakes region, which was awesome, because that's the whole point of what we're trying to do.
Right.
As much as I want to live stream to you, a parent, I also want people to from Guilford to go, hey, it's a Friday night, I got nothing to do. Hey, DPPG's a Prospect. Click. Kind of like what we do with ESPN and Fox, or an NBC. Yeah. So like, it was awesome to hear that. We had Guilford volleyball players watching, even though they're never going to play them because they're D2, compared to D3.
Yeah.
But it was just so much fun. But that game, something, and I guess, like I said, we could talk volleyball here. There was definitely a gap between Prospect and Somersworth. And I mean this with love to the Prospect team. We're selling shirts. They say "See ya," and the A and the Y is actually the Prospect team. So, like, they're one of our teams. I'm not trying to be mean here. But besides, I already got their money. I'm just kidding.
Shots fired.
Kidding.
Across the bow.
I'm kidding. No, but so I mean,
just looking at the standings itself,
I can pull up the numbers real quick.
Somersworth right now is 14-1, and it looked like Prospect Mountain is 10-4.
10-4, yeah.
But again, we talked about this off air. You can't really go off of their standings because it matters who they play.
And realistically, in every sport, the teams that are at the top, if they're that good, like Somersworth is, what, are they the number one team probably with one loss?
I think they were number two, yeah.
Jeez, okay.
Versus Messinic. Messinic is 13-0.
But, like, you know what I mean? Like, those top teams are probably significantly better than teams 3 through 6, 7, 8. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's not as much of a jump in 5 players compared to it is as, like, soccer or something else, because you have to have 11 players, or football 11 players.
Yeah.
Where volleyball, basketball, and everything else is only 5. So I can see a little bit different there. But, again, like, if you put those two teams, maybe even Newfound, into that mix and move them up a division, they're probably a mid-team.
Right.
Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
But they would put up a fight. I mean,
teams
throwing
that,
a plug or anything, but Winnisquam's in that same battle right now. They're 7-7. They're mid-tier.
If they were in Division 3, they'd probably have 10 or 12 wins.
Right. Again, we've been talking about this all the time. It's just how the system is right now.
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, in that you've seen it in volleyball for a handful of years. Like, we've had at Interlake some very, very good teams. Randy has had a wonderful program for her 37 years.
They're
she's
10-4 right now.
They're 37 years she's been there, however long it is. She's been there a long time.
Wonderful coach,
yeah,
too.
she knows exactly what she's doing. And when they won their first championship a few years ago, that was an incredible experience to be a part of.
Right.
To just watch. And I hadn't watched a lot of volleyball.
Volleyball's a fun sport.
In my adult life. You know what I mean? Like,
because
when you're coaching, you miss a lot of those other sports. But I mean,
now with DPPG,
exactly. But like,
subtle plug.
I mean, but like, she's had a really good career.
Right.
And you're running into, like, the Guilfords of the world in Division 3 that were just a powerhouse. Winnisquams of the world who were a powerhouse. You're running into Newt, who had an 8 or 10 year window when they were outstanding at volleyball.
Right.
And so, like, it kind of, like, rotates through which teams are going to be that dominant powerhouse, where you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, they're 14-0, but if they're 14-0, they might have lost 2 sets all year.
Right.
Like, there's a difference between, like, a 14-0 that wins a lot of 3-2s and 3-1s, or a 14-0 that's just absolute dominant.
But going back to what you're saying, like, if you actually broke down the teams and actually looked at who they played, I mean, they lost to Epping, which is a bigger school. Farmington's about the same size, 3-2. And then they brought Newfound 3-2. I don't know what.
I was gonna say, who are we talking about? Prospect?
Interlakes,
okay.
And then Somersworth. I mean, right there, they played 2 tough division games. And then the other 2 were, one was higher, and one's the team that is probably high at that point.
Yeah, I mean, but when you're looking at the schedule as a coach, you're looking at it as, okay, these are the teams we can beat, absolutely.
Right.
And then you have your grouping. It's basically ones you're going to win, and then ones you're basically, like, are going to be tough, and you want to steal one potentially. And that's where a lot of volleyball teams are at. Like, you have in every division the cream of the crop.
Right.
That those are the best 4 or 5 teams. And when you see them go play the teams that they should beat, they usually beat those teams pretty handily. And then you have, like, where it's fun, where it's really fun is if you're in that middle of the pack, where teams 5 through 12, any given day,
right,
regardless of who's there, who's hurt, who's not.
Right.
It could be 3-2, 3-1, 3-0. Like, those are fun matchups to be a part of. And I think You know, in volleyball is a weird sport because you see like, yeah, there are some teams that are dominant, but it's like it rotates through, and how long can you keep your championship window open for?
Right.
And I mean, we had a stretch, or Randy had a stretch a few years ago where, you know, I mean, they were in the Final Four last year, and that was like, not to take a shot, but like that was one of their down years you always kept hearing. But it was still a Final Four year.
Right.
But going back,
Yeah.
isn't that kind of what we were talking about earlier about players playing together?
Yeah.
Because that starts back in
Oh
middle
yeah, she
school,
does.
elementary
She does a very good job at getting those girls to play together, to enjoy one another, and like actually be that like family feel that you're looking for, to because that basically brings. If your team is all pulling in the same direction,
Right.
you're more apt to go somewhere.
And it starts at the low end.
Yep.
Like,
Right.
I know Pinkham, he helps out down further too. A lot of these coaches help out down further, and that's what builds up to these opportunities.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not just high school. Some schools are just based on high school.
Right.
Some, it's about the team. It's all together, how you work as a
Yeah, like
team
I
to
know
go
I
through.
know Foley does that with the middle school. Like he'll go down, even
But-
if it's just the team goes to watch a middle school game. It's still like that. We are one.
You have to
know, it's
you have
not-
to do that now because
Right.
with so many sports in each season, like we're in fall right now. I mean, as a male athlete at Interlake, Lakes, you can run cross country, you can play golf, you can play soccer, or you can play football. Like those are four drastically different opportunities, but those are four avenues that you can choose at any point.
Right.
Right.
Winter's a little bit easier, and spring's a little bit easier because in the winter it's basketball or hockey,
Right.
Yeah.
or skiing, and in the spring it's baseball, track, or tennis and track. So it's a
Don't
little
forget lacrosse.
Oh yes, true, lacrosse. I always forget we have that.
Our school doesn't have.
But like, you know what I
lacrosse
mean?
school.
Like you have all those opportunities, and if you're as a coach and like, you know, this year I have 14 middle school kids. If I'm lucky, I'll have 3 freshmen next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to not necessarily go out and recruit, but you have to support those younger levels if you want to keep your program moving in a positive direction.
Technically, you can't recruit, but winning kind of makes recruiting.
True, yeah.
But I mean,
you
yeah.
can recruit within your own
Like,
school.
how many times have we
Well, yeah,
talked
yeah.
about, like,
Yeah.
how many times back in the day everybody wanted to go to Guilford because they were winning?
Oh yeah,
We
winning
had
helps.
we
Winning
had
absolutely
people
helps, yeah.
move to Guilford. We
If
had
you were
people
gonna-
move to,
Yep. Which is frowned
Hopkinton.
upon. You're
It
not supposed
is,
to do that.
but
Right.
you
it's
just
there.
say you do it for
know?
academic reason, and you're fine.
Right.
It
But,
doesn't get looked into as much.
right. But that going back into it, if you start looking at some of these schools like the Bishop Brady's, the
Trinity's,
Trinity,
St. Thomas,
they can recruit all
Dairy-
they want.
Yep.
Yep.
So-
we talked about this a little bit last week.
Yep. And as long as you play an all public high school schedule, you can remain as an NHIAA member school.
So it's playing.
You're playing with fire.
point. Yeah,
Yep. You're playing with
exactly.
fire. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, definitely like what you were just saying with the middle of the pack games. It makes like I'm looking at the mock-up of the field hockey bracket that I made up. Stevens and Mascoma. If according, we'll talk about this in a minute. But if that was how it was, Stevens is 8, Mascoma's 9. That's going to be a good game.
I mean, those are
know,
rival schools.
Yeah.
Basically, they're
Yeah.
right next to each other.
And that's a toss-up game because you're right. Like it could be they're close.
And field
Yeah.
hockey can go anyway.
And
Yeah.
they've probably played already once or twice anyway.
Probably.
Just based on the fact that, you know, Stevens and Mascoma are right there. Playoffs are fun.
Yeah.
They really are because you'd obviously have your teams that are just dominant, head and shoulders better than everybody.
Right.
And then you have like every year, regardless of sport, you'll see a double-digit upset.
Right.
A team that they're probably, not supposed to win.
Some NCAA stuff here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you're going to have your your bracket busters at some
Right.
point. And like I've been a part of
Here comes your
Cinderella
underdog.
teams.
in the fall, I've only have one playoff win. And it was we beat number 4 Bishop Brady and HTI like 6 years ago. It was one of the most fun games I've ever been a part of, and it was a sudden death shootout
Yeah.
opportunity for us, and we were fortunate enough to come out on top. Like we weren't supposed to win. Bishop Brady was supposed to murder us.
Well,
Like that's just how it's supposed
that's
to go.
like us.
Murder
And
us.
We were 07. I was on Wintersquam, and we were a co-ed team, and we went into the finals. We actually made it to the finals, and we played versus Hopkinton. And the most frustrating thing about the whole thing is that our main striker instantly got red carded and got off.
Oh, and then you're playing down person the rest of the game, yeah.
But we didn't even have an opportunity after that point.
Yep.
And the sad part is, going all the way back, it's the same ref that gave him a red card during the regular season. So it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. It just, you need to have those Cinderella teams. That's what sports is all about.
It's a lot of fun being a part of that Cinderella run.
Oh yeah, it is.
And it's a lot of fun being a part of the seeding team, or the higher seed that's supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And I talked about it a little bit last week, whereas in the spring I wasn't sure how ready we were going to be because those guys had only won one playoff game, regardless of sport.
Right.
I mean, because I had some multi-sport guys on that team, whether it was soccer, basketball, hockey, baseball, whatever their sports were, there was one win, maybe one or two playoff wins in that group. And so it's hard to be the 3 seed when you're supposed to make it to the Final Four. You're supposed to go that far if you're the 3 seed, the top 4.
But the playoffs are totally different than a regular season game.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You, as a coach, mindset-wise, is different in that game.
Yeah, because you're coaching like it could very well be the last one you play all year.
Right.
And you don't necessarily want to do too much, and you don't necessarily want to get out-coached.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the hard part is you don't want to get put into that atmosphere of where you're supposed to win and something happens because then it looks back and you're like, oh, maybe you guys weren't as good as you were supposed to.
But as a coach, going back, and then you have to weigh in on the off season, and you're trying to look back at everything. What could I have done different?
Yeah.
Okay, I could have changed there.
Fortunately for us, we made it to the championship in the spring, and there was literally nothing we could have done. Messina, or whomever we played, Monadnock. They were power.
It started with the M.
Exactly. I mean, just throw a dart. But I mean, realistically, like they were a tough team.
Yeah.
They were very solid. I mean, we battled to play a full 7, and we didn't embarrass ourselves down there. But it wasn't one pitch or one play or something like that. It was just we ran into a team that was really, really good, and we got the best Monadnock team that you can get. Yeah. There was no letdown by those guys. So, and I mean, playoffs are fun. It's an enjoyable. It's one of the most that's why you coach.
And yes,
that's why
we are talking about playoffs here. Yep. It is playoff season.
And that's why the kids play the game. They don't play, for the most part, for, hanging out with their friends. Like,
right.
You want to make the playoffs. You want to enjoy that atmosphere. You want to try to put a banner up in your school. Like, that's something
that's what varsity sports
is I mean, that's
about.
something you remember forever. Like, Foley and I were talking about it last week. Like, he was talking about some of the championship teams he's had. And it's like you remember those runs and those teams and those kids who are now grown men. Right. Like you remember that forever. I mean, and that's what you're trying to do.
When I walk into Winnisquam and see my banner up on the thing of runners up, I'm just like, man, I wish I still had that championship game back.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any time I walk into Belmont and I see the Belmont-Guilford 2015 state championship. I didn't play on the team, but I was a part of that filming wise. So it was like, that's awesome, So like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, totally.
It's fun. It's a fun atmosphere, and field hockey starts a little bit earlier than some of the other traditionals, but like it's how you
any sport in general when you're going through this.
I mean, we're for soccer we're a week away. We're in the last week of the regular season. Football's got 2 more weeks. I would assume volleyball, girls soccer is probably in the same boat as us, so they're probably a week away from probably 2 or 3 games left at the most, and then
2 or 3,
and then by next Monday, Tuesday, NHIAA will have brackets out and people will be getting ready to go.
Woo! We call that Bracket Monday. I wake up,
little bracketology.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
Absolutely,
we're gonna have a breakdown of the brackets.
Wake up Monday morning.
We talk about the teams,
and you're just constantly refreshing,
refreshing the NHIAA website,
refreshing tournament info, and just trying to find where you're gonna go.
Yeah, for us, for media, we're like I usually have 2 screens, NHIAA website and my email, because we'll get the brackets emailed to us. So it's like, okay, which one's first? Which one's first? Which one's first?
And it's fun because like obviously the more you coach, you can kind of figure out like the tie-breaking processes and stuff like that. But every year, I mean, there's always one that throws you for a loop. Like, you think
how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean,
you have it. You think you have it done, and then you get 14 out of 16 right, and you're like, all right, okay, now I see.
Yeah, I mean,
now I see what happened.
What was it? Softball last year, I think it might have been Fall Mountain, got into the playoffs, but then they realized they only played X amount in their division, and they got swapped.
Yeah, you have to play I've never heard of a number in the division just based on the fact that now it's like, now that we're basically scheduled back to normal, you play a lot more divisional games than you do out of division. But usually the minimum number of games played is like 12 or 13.
Right.
So if you don't play 12 or 13, you're usually looking on the outside anyway.
Right.
I mean, we played 15 in the spring instead of the normal 16 because we had a team drop off. And all year long, I was like, I really hope that lack of one extra or one fewer game. I mean, that could have realistically been the difference between a 3 seed and a 6 seed. Just based on like one additional win or loss could have rotated us anywhere.
Fall Mountain wasn't eligible because they only played so many D3 teams.
Right.
That was that situation.
That's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I think
in
they
general,
played.
there's no reason that should happen.
I was gonna say I think they played the full 16 schedule, but I think it was like, you need to play 12 of D3. Well, you only played 10.
That's an
AD.
Yeah, it wasn't unfortunate, but that goes back to what we were just saying about you never know until it's really game day who you're. Like until the brackets come out.
I mean, yeah, there have been times that I'm like, okay, guys, these are who we're gonna play. This is who we play. Like, watch these guys, watch these guys, watch these guys. And all of a sudden, the bracket comes out, and it's like, all right, yeah, we're not going to
scratch that.
Yeah, we're going down to Campbell now instead of like Conant, who I was 95% sure that's where we were gonna go,
and that's why you're just a coach.
Exactly. That's why I'm not sitting in the offices in Concord. I'm just behind a lawnmower.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, definitely like it's like right now, like I pulled up thankfully everything's public information, so I'm able to tell how many teams make it, things like that, and official like off the working handbook.
What do you have?
So for field hockey, they start Tuesday.
Okay.
For those of you who may not know, they start a week earlier than everybody. We covered D3 and D2 with Laconia because Laconia was a D2 school. We can talk D2 real quick because it's unfortunately going to be the quickest one.
Yeah, because Plymouth and Laconia probably won't be in with it.
Yeah, so they're on the back part of the bracket. So unfortunately, the St. John's and the Bobcats aren't going to make it, and everybody else in D2 is out of our network. So unfortunately, it looks like we're not covering much D2 field hockey.
That's a part of the beast right there.
Yeah. But like for D3. I threw it into like this tournament bracket maker off of the information given, and Guilford is number 1.
So this isn't official, right?
No. So yeah, preface that right now.
This is the unofficial DPPG.
Unofficial, yeah.
But hockey division bracket.
But I will say
the AC polls.
I will say
it's a DP poll.
I will say if on Monday or tomorrow, if this bracket comes out and it's the same way, I'm gonna be like, called it.
A nice big pat on the back.
Yeah, nice.
Need sponsorship for it.
I finally put a logo on it. Finally, we figured out the bracket system.
Official.
Yeah. But no. So like Guilford they're done playing. All their games are reported. They are finishing the team as the only undefeated team in Division III field hockey with a 14-0 record.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not to sound like I'm, patting the back of the person who employs me for substituting, but that's outstanding. Yeah. Great job by them, and now
are they still going for another record of the most wins in a row?
That's a question not for me. I'm not a huge.
I was just wondering.
I'm not sure
because they own the record or one of the records.
It's not surprising whatsoever.
Yeah,
not surprising. But like them and boys soccer at Guilford are both undefeated. Mm-hmm. Girls soccer there, we'll talk about them in a minute. They're just as
they're just as good.
They're just as good and just as playoff eligible. You have football. You have football, which we kind of talked about last week. We won't talk about this much. Also undefeated.
Isn't that teamed up with Belmont?
It is a Belmont.
Yeah, so that's a Guilford Belmont football team. But I know there are some Belmont parents out there that are not going to like what I'm about to say, but that's majority Guilford dominated over there. Belmont, I think, gives like 4 or 5 kids.
That's usually how it works in combined sports, unfortunately.
That's a whole thing going on that we're not going to talk about because there's like the conversations of Guilford wanting Belmont gone, and anyways,
they would put it back into Division III.
Yeah, exactly. Like
it would put Guilford
at
down.
one point. Winnisquam and Franklin were talking, but I'm not sure.
Right?
If
no,
that
it's
went anywhere,
and it's weird because. Again, not trying to get into this too much, but Guilford Belmont share a football team and a hockey team. Their hockey team is D3. Their football team's D2.
Yes.
And it's like,
But again,
same
this
schools,
is kind of
same
what
populations.
But it's also in one of those sports. A lot of high schools have football,
right.
so you have four.
Right.
You have 4 divisions in football,
And that's
and in hockey there is only 3.
right.
And
that's
it's just one of those. It's the nature of the beast.
Right.
Like
Right.
those. If they were to, I mean, like we talked about earlier, would they be competitive in Division II? Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
They would be 100%. Berlin was a D1 hockey school 5 years ago,
Yeah, they were.
and they were
Yeah.
dominant in
Yeah.
in D1.
yeah.
And it wasn't based on population.
No, they were just.
It was just based on the fact that it's practically Canada up there, and that's the national pastime. Like they were really good,
Practically.
but you know what I mean. Like it's
Yeah.
just one of those weird things where
So when I went north, I went out of the country.
Wait a minute.
pretty much, yeah. Anytime you go up there, yeah.
I forget my passport?
A stone throw.
But no, I mean,
But,
yeah, for sure, and that's how I wound up asking Rick Aquilano, Guilford's athletic director, about that, and being like, okay, help me. And he was like, well, football and hockey are seated differently. Exactly what you were just saying.
Yeah, there's a
You
lot less
know?
hockey teams. There's a lot less hockey teams out there.
Because there were parents coming to me as, I guess, the local media source saying, why are the two same schools different divisions for the
Well,
sports?
that's
And
even going back to what we were talking about off air was about. Oh, we might have talked on air too, but the facilities to be able to do something like that. I mean, there's not that many hockey rinks around.
yeah.
So there's not that many opportunities, and the finance and help them out. There's not that much opportunities in New Hampshire for that.
Well, and realistically, like you had just said, like Belmont Guilford is combined for hockey, and Interlakes right now is Interlakes, Winnisquam, Laconia.
No,
That's-
Laconia when it's going
whatever trio combination you want to do it, but like you know what I mean. Like that's 5 Lakes Region schools
In 2
right
teams.
there for 2 teams.
Right.
But like,
At one point, Interlakes
you
and
know-
Moultonboro was a hockey
but yeah,
team.
but you know what I mean. Like they're
Yeah.
sharing the
But they're
same rink.
But they're giving them an opportunity to be
Yeah.
able to play. And I
Whereas-
think that's where we as fans need to understand too, is that they need the opportunity to play,
Right.
and then everything will settle out itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's, yeah, those hockey games between Laconia, Winnisquam, Interlakes, and BG are always fun because it's like they're
I always
home-
get confused.
they're
of what
home
team's on
teams.
which
It's
team.
their home rink, and they all know each other.
yeah, they're all playing each other.
hockey.
Yeah,
They've been playing hockey
I always
forever.
I always love promoting those 'cause it's like who's gonna be the best in the hockey barn? Like they're both home teams. But anyways, so yeah, Guilford is undefeated. Newfound is second with a
Rivalry
12-2.
schools right
Newport is third with a 12-2 record as well. Messinic fourth, Conant fifth, Berlin sixth, Bishop Brady 7, Stevens 8, Mascoma 9, Winnisquam 10, White Mountains 11. Winnisquam was 11th for a while, and then they just scooted up one. So as soon as you throw that into tournamentmanager.com/bracket creator. There you go.
How many teams make that? 12?
11.
11. That's a weird number.
I know.
Who
Well,
gets
'cause
just
it's
just a number 1 bye?
No, 3 buys. So the
Really?
top 3 get a bye.
NHIAA,
comes up with this
NHIAA
idea?
Well-
does it weird with this whole 70% rule
To
between.
me, it sounds like, well, let's put this up on the board and throw darts at it. Whatever hits, go.
Well, and that's the
Here's
part.
the
Like,
dartboard.
that's the part you were talking about. I mean, with 70% of the division making playoffs, you can. That's your average. Like if that number's 15, you could go 16, but I've seen it go 14. I've seen it go
Right.
12. Like, and it's one of those things that hasn't necessarily changed a lot lately. But sometimes, like one year it's this number, next year it's that
Do you
number.
think-
So
Right.
like,
Do you think
that's
two-
why I thought it was 12 because then you're going to get your top 2 teams
Right.
could potentially get a bye, and then 3
Exactly.
plays through, and then you're normal after that.
Do you think they're allowing too many teams in the playoffs? That regular season doesn't matter.
Not necessarily.
As a coach,
No.
I'm at outside looking at it.
No, because
And sometimes it's kind of frustrating.
I've
looking
been
at
a
how many teams
I've been
are
a
getting
part
in.
of a 500 team in the spring that missed the playoffs.
Okay.
I've also been a part of a team that had it where everybody made it.
Yeah,
And we
COVID season.
And
Yeah.
no, it was
Oh, no?
long before COVID. It was
Oh.
we were a 23. I think we were a 23 or 24 team or school division, and it was baseball, and top 12 got a bye, and then everyone played all the way
I remember
through.
when they did that.
So we finished as
Oh.
finished as the 13th seed and played the worst team in Division 3. They were 0-16. They had a bus issue on the way there. We lost the game 1-0. The following year, the bottom 5 didn't play. So I've been a part of an 8-8 team that finished tied for 11th, miss out on the playoffs looking in.
Right.
I've been a part of a 10-6 team that lost to an 0-16 team in the first round of a playoff. So I've seen it all. I mean, realistically, the regular season's fun. Postseason's a lot more fun. It's like we were talking about earlier. It gives the kids that opportunity to go and get it. They're usually the cream of the crop. It fills it, takes care of business for the most part. You don't normally see a whole lot of upsets for the most part. But I mean, it's just weird how 70%
they come up with that.
Yeah, it's just, and I get you don't want everyone in. But I mean, look at your professional sports. I mean, we just had, as baseball's winding down here, and we're about to be down to the Final Four. I mean, how many they had? 7 or 8.
They don't have that many.
They had 7 or 8 teams from each division making it. That's just about half of MLB. You have 16 teams in the NBA. That's half of the NBA. You're getting just about probably more than half. I mean, in the NFL, you're getting to that part where 60 to 70.
Talk about college football,
but 60 to 70% of your division basically makes it, and that's realistic.
Unless you're the NHL, then everybody makes it.
Yeah, well, it's a realistic number to have about 70% make it.
Yeah,
right.
Just because it's an easy bracket. If 12 make it, if 14 make it, if 16 make it.
Right. No, and I mean, and it was funny because my first thought was, why doesn't what you said, 3 get a bye? But I threw this into this bracket maker, and it automatically categorized it as the 3 get a bye, and I was like, oh, okay. So
it's the only way it'll work.
I was gonna say, so I wonder. Yeah, so I wonder if it literally is just
maybe they're using the same system you are.
Somebody's in Concord right now on the same website typing in the school name.
Yeah, exactly.
But so if this unofficial DPPG bracket, if that's what we're gonna call it, playoffs start for Division
Tuesday,
3.
right?
Yeah, for Tuesday the 18th. You'll have, drum roll please. You'll have 8.
We don't have sound effects.
Sorry, my bad. We'll work on that.
You didn't tell me that. I wasn't ready. No. My bottle dropped. I would have had it all set for you.
Jeez. So on Tuesday, you would have 8 and 9 Stevens Mascoma playing each other, 7 Brady hosting 10 Winnisquam, and Berlin 6 hosting White Mountains. That's an easy bus ride for them.
That's a nice.
That worked out well for them, didn't it? But then the winner of Stevens Mascoma would go to Guilford. And then the winner of Bishop Brady Winnisquam would go to Newfound. And the winner of Berlin White Mountains would go to Newport. And then
who's the 4 seed there?
So Masconic's 4, Conant's 5.
Yeah, but those teams wouldn't play each other in the first round.
No, they play each other in the second round on that Friday, the 20th.
Yeah, but they wouldn't get a bye though, would they? Not if top 3 got one.
Top 3 would get a bye. No, they would have to win, and then they would play each other.
So 4 would play
5, but they're
not in the first round. No, they would play the lowest seed. They would play 11.
Right.
If you're going to give your top 3 teams a bye, you can't.
You can't have 4 and 5.
You can't have 4 or 5. If 4 would play 11.
Well, okay, because it's
then the winner of that middle game, which would probably still be 8-9 for the most part,
right,
would play the number 1 seed, and then 2 would play the winner of 7-10. And so on and so on.
We got to look at this bracket that Devin made.
Now I'm confused.
Because I think he just put in the numbers and it went to the numbers.
Okay, so see what you have there is you have basically the top 5 teams getting a bye.
Yeah.
Because Masconic and Conant wouldn't play the first day. They would play the second day.
Second day, yeah.
Okay. I mean, now that I'm looking at it, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, right. So for the people who are listening to audio and don't have a visual.
Yes, exactly. Well, wait until Monday at 11 o'clock. You'll be able to see it.
Yeah, I mean, so basically on that Tuesday,
really
you would have those 3 games that I talked about, and then on the Friday, you would have
that would be the quarterfinal round.
The quarterfinal round, yeah.
So technically, Masconic and Conant would get a bye?
Well, they would get a day off.
Right.
Yeah, they wouldn't. That
is very interesting.
Yeah, they would not be playing on that first Tuesday of the first round.
Right.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think
good thing I don't make brackets.
I was gonna say now. Jeez. Now I'm questioning if my bracket's gonna be right.
And like we talked about, that's the fun part. That's the fun part of waiting and seeing where you're going.
Right.
Because I've never watched a field hockey game. I've only heard there's a lot of whistles to it.
I watched, but I didn't understand what the whistle was.
But you know what I mean? I wouldn't.
I finally understand.
That's an interesting amount of teams to make it in a tournament play.
Right.
Like it's just one of those. It's one of those weird things that like you think you might know, and then come playoff time when the bracket comes out, you're like, oh yeah, okay. You're like I know what they were doing.
Right.
Is there 11 on the field for field hockey? Putting you on the spot.
Oh crap.
I know football, soccer is, so I'm guessing field hockey would
I was going to say, I can run out to the production trailer and get the rule book, but I just Google it as well.
I would assume it's probably. It could
I'm
very
guessing
well,
it would be 11.
maybe. I don't know.
I never really got into that sport.
Interleagues
so
doesn't
that's why
have
I was
field
wondering.
Okay,
hockey,
yes,
so-
11. There are 11 players on a team that make up a goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, and forwards.
Hey,
so
look,
it's
we're
probably
learning something new
so it's
every day.
probably
Look at
I never really because I'm still learning how to
Well, they
read
play
a field.
They play
but it's
basically
probably
on the
like a
same
soccer-
side.
yeah,
they
like
play
a-
on a soccer field basically.
Right.
Little
But
shorter.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
little shorter.
It'll be interesting because normally Newfound's a powerhouse in there, and
I think
what was the other number one?
Guilford.
I want to give
Guilford.
a shout out
Yeah.
real quick. I think if I'm not mistaken, Coach Williams at Newfound just got her 100th win, and I think she is the field hockey coach. I think. And I apologize if I'm wrong on that, or if she's
might
listening
be
to this
wrong,
right
too.
now. If she's listening to this right now, going, "We met each other." But like, either way, congratulations to Coach
Right.
Williams on the 100th win. If that's the same coach to the Newfound coach for
Right.
for field hockey, that's you're right. That's a powerhouse right there.
Is that Ragaki still over at Guilford, or is that a different?
Yes. Yep.
Congrats to Mr. Ragaki. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
No.
And I mean to go 14-0 in the regular season, I mean that's an accomplishment all in itself.
Right.
Realistically, like good congratulations to Guilford and the girls program there. But when you're an undefeated team, like that's great.
The
But
pressure's on.
it's the pressure's on. You've got that
gotta
large.
get it done.
You've got that large target on your back, but they're not thinking regular season.
No, I mean,
they've been championship bound or thinking
Belichick
back for
thinking way.
Yeah, for probably the last month, you would think. Like they knew, hey, we're going to be this good. Like we're going to take care of business. But now, come Tuesday or Friday, really for them, when it really starts. And there's a little bit of pressure because you've been good so far up to this point. But as a coach, regular season's out the window once the playoffs start.
Right.
The only thing is you're hosting.
Right.
That's all. It's just a home game
Or
for you,
you're on
or an
the
away
road.
or an away game. But what you did in the regular season means absolutely nothing, and
Right.
that's what makes playoffs a lot of fun.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, I'm excited. We haven't this is our first year covering field hockey in general, and it's going to be just a lot of fun. Going back to what you guys were talking about earlier when we brought the players only broadcast and like the behind the scenes and seeing what actually goes into it and everything. Everybody loves bracket day because it's like, oh my goodness, we're playing this person. Great, awesome, let's go. Here at HQ for DPPG, that's like the most chaotic day ever because it's like, okay, bracket day, now I got to schedule everybody for tomorrow. Like I hate that. Like I love the playoffs to start on Tuesday, but I hate the fact that I won't know until Monday because it's like, shoot, I have to put all these people on like standby and be like, wait for assignment. Okay,
Pretty much,
and that's horrible.
Hopefully your app can handle all the things. All of a sudden, coaches are like, crap, we're playing them? All right, go to DP Plus.
Hey,
and
DPPG.
Do they watch
Hey,
us? Do they-
DPPG.
That's where for me, if granted I've played Guilford, I've played Guilford twice, but I haven't seen Campbell. I might have to watch that game again just to see how Campbell handled
have to.
Guilford's pressure
Right.
and stuff like that, or so you just kind of have to go back and do a little bit. I mean, fortunately for us, we don't play until Wednesday, so we would have a little bit of time to at least get one or two practices in before you can kind of like figure out where you're going. But
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
like
I don't know
next-
when like girls soccer starts. I would assume probably the same Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean,
but
like,
with the lack of officials that we have right now, it wouldn't be shocking if boys played Wednesday and girls played
Right.
Tuesday, Thursday.
And I know that, like, when I played, I remember winning one game up in Berlin, and then the next day we're at Guilford for the playoffs. And we had we got off the bus. It was dark. We turn on the car lights, and we're learning a new formation to go up against Guilford that night.
Jeez.
And then we had to put in the practice the next day. So, I mean, there's a lot going into coaching, too.
Right.
And
No, it just
with DB Plus being able to see what they're doing, what their weaknesses are, and help, It helps the coaches out too.
Yeah, no, but
And
like
players.
it just makes it so that like next week when
Mayhem.
three teams or three sports worth of brackets, and then on top of that, volleyball, you got D2, D3. Thankfully for soccer, we only cover D3, but even then, so now you have 4 sets of brackets.
When does volleyball comes out?
Probably
They still have another.
They have
They
another
still have
week.
another week
Yeah.
of regular season.
But like, it
But like
makes
now to transition into basically what you're going to do next week, like you're still kind of handcuffed because you want to cover playoff stuff.
You want to
You
cover
want
as
you
much
want to
as
cover you want to
possible.
cover playoff stuff, but then you still have a full week of regular season
Like,
games.
yeah, exactly.
For,
So-
for boys soccer,
Right.
girls soccer,
was gonna say,
volleyball,
so-
football, like you still have a bunch of other things to do on top of trying to fit playoff stuff. in.
my crew literally came up to me and they're like, "So playoffs start next week?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and regular season's still happening too." And they're like, "What?" And
goes
like no joke, like I'm right now, and I'll be honest with everybody at home. Next Friday, the 21st, Guilford's going to most likely host a playoff game. We originally were going to go to Laconia for volleyball versus Winnisquam and their football team's Friday night game. But the playoff game's there. And we are sponsorship obligated to cover X amount
Yeah.
of playoff games. So it's like, because like, and here's a plug, you want to sponsor us, $100, we give you a guaranteed of 10 games.
I just want to see what it's going volleyball. That's all.
$100, guaranteed 10 games. So I have to meet that quota, and it's like that's on my end. It's like you have to juggle that. You have
Yeah.
regular season volleyball and football, and playoffs, and it's like
The only
how do we? And then
the
on
only
top of that,
positive is, fortunately, Laconia football probably starts at 7.
right?
And field hockey will probably start at 3 or 3:30, based on the fact that it's an outdoor sport, no
Right.
lights. They've got to get it in if it goes to overtime. So generally, playoff games for those
Right.
sports
It's
start
scheduled
at
for
3.
3.
It'll
but
probably be at 3:00.
Rick
Right.
might move that back to 3:30 just because the school gets out at 2:15.
It might be a little bit easier. to
No,
move
they
back,
schedule it for 3, but the game won't start until.
But for
3:20,
you, fortunately, Guilford and Laconia aren't that far.
Right.
It's still a scramble. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
I'm
right.
not saying it's not stressful, but
No,
you
it's
could
easy.
It's
you
easy
could
for you.
you could start playoff game at Guilford and then still go, but then you probably have to pick one of the 2 Laconia
Right.
events to
Right.
cover because you
Well,
probably
'cause-
can't do
'cause then
both because
he-
then you're relying on staff to do the same thing.
Because then here's another. I forgot to throw this in there. We're trying to find another Prospect Mountain girls soccer game because we're trying to keep it even, and they're playing at Interlakes that night
Oh, on Friday.
on Friday.
Yeah,
so
that's
so-
probably a 4:00
so,
start. Yeah.
So originally, without talking about playoffs, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to send a crew to Interlakes. They're going to cover that soccer game for me. I'm going to go to Winnis or Laconia for volleyball because I haven't seen Laconia volleyball in a while. I haven't seen Winnisquam volleyball in a while. I personally haven't. My company saw them at their Guilford's homecoming, but I haven't called a regular season game for Winnisquam volleyball at all this year. So I'm like, that's a no-brainer. Now you throw this field hockey game in, and it's like,
Right.
oh shoot,
Yeah,
because
and you're already covering Interlake soccer over at Guilford on Tuesday
Right.
too, aren't you? Jeez, they're getting the 2 games in a week. Wow.
and
That's
honestly,
nice.
that's on me because I sat there and I said, okay, we're going to go to Guilford for soccer and we're going to go to Interlakes for soccer, and then I went, oh, I'm seeing them twice.
Yeah.
So and like unfortunately, Prospect Mountain girls soccer, as of right now, they're most likely not going to make the playoffs. So it's like, if I need to get one more game for them, which I want to, I have to figure out a way to get them covered in Interlakes.
Yeah.
Because their other option, I think they go to Berlin.
Yeah, you don't want to drive all the way up there.
Yeah, because that
You don't
throws
wanna
that throws
be in
every
Canada right now.
that throws the whole
Exactly. They probably got snow right now.
you don't want to that would throw the whole schedule out of whack. So like that's like just to give you an insight to the DPPG scramble and all that. That's that. It's come Monday. Woo! Let's go. But yeah, so for playoffs, I mean, I'll call it as it is. I'm going to say this is Guilford's field hockey championship to lose. And I think
And it's not bold. That's not a bold statement.
Well,
and-
it's Guilford and Newfound.
But-
I'll
but
throw Newfound into that.
Newfound and Newport, I've only seen Newport once they played Franklin.
Blowout.
I was gonna say, so I don't. Thank you for saying what everyone else was thinking.
But
like, so my
out.
point is I've seen them against Franklin. I haven't seen them.
I don't have
else.
to see them. Just knowing their culture there and how it is, them and Guilford are going to be the two teams to watch out
Newport
for.
or Franklin or Newfound.
Sorry.
Okay.
Newfound and them are the two.
So
it's not, and that's not an unrealistic thing to say. Knowing those two programs,
right?
Knowing how they've played of late, like you don't have to necessarily be a field hockey fanatic to know that Guilford and Newfound are generally very good and at the top of Division III. You know what I mean? Like those are good. Those are good field hockey programs in the state.
And if this bracket is what we would see, they wouldn't play each other till the championship game.
And that's how it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Normally.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I think
those are the two top teams. They'll go all the way.
Exactly. So I would say that's my championship game prediction. Going off of what you guys just said, Newfound Guilford, I would say it's Guilford's championship to lose. I mean,
as they're undefeated, they probably played Newfound at least once.
Hang on, I'm going to check that right now.
And Newfound for them to be the
they beat Newfound at Newfound 3-2.
So it's a good game.
That's one of their one of their closer games.
Again, in the playoffs, it's flipping a coin.
Yeah, that's one of their closer games.
Did they only play it once?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those games for the ages.
Yeah, I mean, I
almost went to that game too.
If both teams take care of their own business, that's an exciting championship game.
That's what they want
to go and watch. That's exactly what.
Exactly what Newfound wants.
For an NHIAA person who looks or oversees playoffs, that's what you want.
Right.
You want your championship games in every sport to be competitive, to be compelling, to have story. You want it to be back and forth.
Or Cinderella.
Yeah, like you want it to be a back and forth game that it can go to either person at any time and have it be that. And don't get me wrong, like as a coach, if I was going to win one, a blowout would be cool because then you can just kind of relax and take your foot off the press, and there's not a sudden thing, you know what I mean?
In a recliner.
But at the end of the day, like if you're going to lose, I want to lose like at the end. I want it to be last minute. I want it to be a walk-off. I want it to be a buzzer beater. Like that's how you want to lose. Winning a game like that's fun too, but like, I get it. Like as somebody who participates in playoffs, like you want those competitive games. The blowouts aren't necessarily that fun on either side.
That championship game for field hockey Division III is at Bedford High School on the 30th of October.
Oh, they changed that again.
4:00 start. At least that's what it currently is.
Because it used to be, Dairyfield?
I have no idea. I don't know why. I'm shocked it's not Laconia hosting it. They have boys and girls soccer for Division III, probably 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Division II has probably got some college, Division 1 and 2, because
probably Sanu.
Realistically, Division 1 and 2 get all the glory.
D3 boys soccer doesn't even go to Laconia at all.
Really?
Yeah, their semis and their finals are at Manchester Memorial.
Oh.
The girls are at Laconia.
That's gross. That's such a long drive. I like just going to Laconia.
I was gonna say 3 and 4 for boys soccer.
Plug here. Yeah. Championship game at Laconia.
Yeah. Jeff Collins, if you're listening to this, move it back to Bank of New Hampshire Stadium, please.
Division 3 and 4 boys soccer play at Manchester Memorial
for both Final Four and championship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a turf field.
And the girls.
And it's right off the highway, so
the girls.
Parking sucks there.
But I mean, Laconia is 20 minutes for me. I'd rather do that.
Who
knows? Maybe I'll be in a bus. Maybe we'll make it that far.
Here we go. Sponsorship for Dunkin' Donuts that day.
Yeah.
He needs to wake up on the way down.
Needs a kick in the butt. Yeah, but then for the girls there, and we'll talk about this next week because we're gonna more or less. I'm gonna structure the show next week as a deep dive into playoff predictions for those, and I will bring a bell. So I can stop you and fold.
Oh, I know, right? Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I think that
ding.
All right, moving on.
It'll be a 4-hour podcast if we're talking playoffs.
But,
if we're talking soccer, I think us three all together is like...
Yeah. I'll have to get a fourth headset by next week. But no, so I would say field hockey wise, I'm hoping this bracket is accurate. We'll know in the morning. And it should be good.
Is there really any upsets that you could see in field hockey?
I could see,
without actually watching it or knowing it, there's always maybe one or two, but if anything, it's going to be, I don't foresee any of those top probably 2 or 3 teams losing.
Right, I don't either.
You know what I mean?
Didn't know
You
what
have
that was.
if your 4 or 5s play on that Friday, like that's those are usually toss ups, but like maybe I mean White Mountain and Berlin have probably played twice for homecomings and whatnot. Like that might be a toss up. Like those are some teams that could go either way, but that's not necessarily an upset really.
I got a potential upset. So Winnisquam is playing Bishop according to our unofficial bracket. Gotta say that. They play at Bishop Brady on Tuesday, and if they win, they go to Newfound. And their last game against Newfound, they lost to them 1-0. Winnisquam field hockey.
Oh, that's eventful.
So
talk about nail biter.
Yeah, so talk about
talking out
and they played.
But that's what we're looking for in the bracket.
And they played.
If that bracket's right on, Devin, that's gonna be awesome to watch.
But they played Newfound earlier at home, and they lost 5-2. So 5-2 for first game, 1-0 for the second game.
And
if you tell me the momentum shift, I'd say Winnisquam may have a chance, but. Either way,
you don't know if they
and you
players.
Never know looking at schedule what could have happened behind the scenes. Like they could
person got hurt,
Newfound could have been down a man, it
could have very well been a disciplinary thing, or sick, or injury, or never.
But it's still one to think about. That
it's exciting. I mean, they're 2 teams that are close.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the battle of the Bears. You wanna see which one's the better animal, right?
And then
Blue Bears. Sorry, I'm from Winnisquam. I have to.
The Bears are winning that one regardless.
Yeah. No, maybe we're gonna blow up that whole Friday schedule and go to Newfound as well. We got 2 playoff games here, folks. But
that's not official yet.
That's not official. That's not official at all. We'll figure that one out. But that would be another example of. So on Friday, we know we're probably going to cover field hockey at Guilford. Newfound maybe on Friday if Winnisquam pushes through, but we won't know that till Tuesday.
Right.
So talk about a scheduling nightmare on my end.
Who are they facing in the first round?
Bishop Brady.
Private school Bishop Brady.
Yeah.
But hold on, did they play each other already?
I'd assume so. I mean, Winnisquam and Bishop Brady are like 30 minutes away from each other.
It doesn't mean that they will.
They haven't.
Really, that's wild.
Yeah,
that's the whole scheduling thing.
Winnisquam played.
I mean, I like playing different teams, so it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, Winnisquam played Stevens, Guilford,
good luck to
Newfound,
Sam McGoon there.
Franklin.
She's the coach of Winnisquam.
White Mountains, Littleton, Mascoma, St. Thomas, Hopkinton, White Mountains, Berlin, Newfound, Franklin. They never played.
Did they play Guilford?
Yeah, but they lost to them 9-0.
Ouch.
That was our first ever field hockey game. We got a Lakes Region rivalry.
No,
ladies and gentlemen, it's 9-0. 9-0. Have a good night.
It's all right.
But anyways, so I don't know. I think that we'll find out that bracket on tomorrow or Monday when this podcast releases. And
what other sports are we talking about here?
Well, we've reached the 2-hour mark.
Shocker.
Again.
Shocker, yeah.
There's so much and
it goes so quick. I mean, you can't cover. It's just a lot to cover. It is.
But here, let's do this because I did want to talk about the girls' soccer.
Because you're covering. I mean, we can. You're covering a handful of girls' games this week,
right?
So we might as well just deep dive into that.
I was gonna
quickly.
say. So we'll just go off the standings as of right now on the NHIAA website. D3 schools, we got Guilford 3rd.
1 loss, Guilford, right?
Yes.
Yeah, lost the first game of the year and have not lost since.
Yeah, the one game we went and covered, they lost, and then they went on like
they're on an incredible run right now, absolutely.
And then Interlakes is 8th. Hold on, I gotta count.
Yeah,
7.
They should
7.
really realistically just put numbers there.
Right.
That's how it used to be when I was in high school. It was a full bracket and everything, and then they updated it.
Too much time. Just
they updated it. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, and then
get fined by ESPN.
And then the other D3 schools, Belmont, Prospect, Newfound, or Lakes Region, I should say, D3 schools. They're out.
All on the outside looking in.
They're all on the outside looking in. Belmont might be the only one. Hold on.
Interlakes.
They might be the only one that's close to possibly sneaking in.
How many teams get in?
I believe it's probably 16.
I think it's 16. Hold on.
If it matches the boys' bracket, then it would be 16.
Do a little research here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Is it this? Is it this one? Is it this? Is it this document?
Prospect Mountain, Belmont
how many teams are in Division 3 soccer?
I can tell you. Hang on.
For girls, it's
1,
probably
2,
like
3,
22.
4, 5, 6, 7.
How much I want to mess with him right now. 29, 30, 31, 30.
It actually might not be that many because there's a handful.
No, there's a lot.
I think it might be 20. Is it 23 to 24?
Yeah.
So then 16 teams make it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
23,
7,
32.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So Belmont is the 16th.
How many wins does that Belmont team have at 16?
4 and
4
6.
and 6.
And Prospects 5 and 9.
They're right there.
Yeah,
Those
Prospects.
two are like nail biters.
Yeah.
Are they going to
And
play
they
each
have
other
this-
again? Hang on a minute.
And they have
Blow up the
same-
schedule.
They have
Well,
this-
we're in the final week of the regular season too, so that can tiebreakers and everything into that.
But even no matter who gets in, Belmont or Prospect, they're going to be
How
on the
many
road.
games does Belmont have?
the only two teams in the Lakes region in Division 3 that very well could host would be obviously Guilford
Yeah.
because they're 13-1 right now.
Yep.
Interlake?
And
Interlakes.
And Interlakes is, that Chelsea's running a pretty good program over there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, they've played some teams tough. I mean, they just tied White Mountain the other day. They tied Belmont last week.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a tough Guilford team on Tuesday.
Yeah.
A very, very tough Guilford team. Obviously, I'm rooting for Interlakes all day, 100%.
And then Prospect will
and then
play.
they have Prospect Mountain, which you don't necessarily want to fall into like that trap game. But Prospect Mountain is a weaker team, right? Record wise, they haven't been as good. They're a team that we should beat, but you never necessarily know what you're going to get when you have a team that's basically fighting at tooth and nail to sneak into that last playoff spot.
Yeah,
You either
There's always a rivalry in the Lake region.
And
It doesn't matter who you are.
yeah, and realistically, that those teams at the bottom in the last week of the regular season are either in two different boats. One, they're all in, want to make it. They're going to fight like crazy to get there.
Or
Or the
wanna go
second
golfing.
option, they're ready to go to winter sports.
yep,
Yeah.
they've
They're
written
ready to
off.
be done, and they're checked out.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of the beast at the end of a high school season, regardless of how you're doing. You always have that little bit of a pull from the next sport coming up, and so
Because winter sports start in 4 weeks?
yeah, it's not that far.
Like-
But like
Right.
for the Interlakes team, I want them to host. It's been a long time since they've done that.
Please.
Like
We
it
need
would
a-
be
we need another-
it would be
another
an
place to cover
enjoyable
soccer.
it would be an enjoyable experience for them to get that hosting experience and to be a top 8 team for the first time in a long time.
And they would be playing.
But they're going to be playing a 10. They might.
They play
If they can take care of business, they might be able to get up to 6. If they drop, they could very well be 7, 8, 9, and then you're on the road.
But then you're playing. But if you
You're playing a team that's similar style
Exactly,
or
that's what I
similar
was getting at.
record wise to you, which
Yeah.
sometimes is good, sometimes it's bad, based on
matters
the
on your
fact
team.
of your schedule and who you've played.
right.
Like
Exactly.
not to say that not to turn it to my team, but if
Shocker.
If-
Just kidding.
you know what I mean, but like if you look at who we've played a lot of teams in the top 10.
Right.
If we get a team in that somewhat top 10 that's just like, oh, these guys have 9 losses, they're not that good. Our 9 losses are against the top teams.
Yeah.
Good luck to you if you're going to look past that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if we finish with a similar record, and that's something that the girls team is looking to do. Like, I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're in. They're in regardless. But
The
you're-
question now is home or away.
yeah, you're just hoping. You're hoping that it's going to be a home game. And we watched. Our guys went down and watched them play White Mountain the other day, and they played well. I thought they had a lot of really good chances. I know the White Mountain girls coach fairly well. He was the varsity coach for the boys before I took it over. So we always kind of catch up when we can. I mean, I've never seen so many posts hit. And like they fought and they battled. I mean, they went down 1-0 in middle of the second half. So it was it was desperation mode at that point.
Very great.
And they came back to tie it. And in overtime, I felt like we were the better team.
Yeah, I mean,
Like there was just one of those, like we had a ton of opportunities and it just didn't find the back of the net. Like you're upset with a tie because it's a team you should beat.
right.
But at the same time, you're like, I mean, we played well. We had a lot of momentum. It was just unfortunate that we couldn't get that second one or that backbreaker to happen.
Right. I mean, and I've seen the Lakers, the Lady Lakers, play play Belmont, and then they played.
You were there for Molten Borough,
Yep,
yep.
Molten Borough,
Which was another. I mean, that was a game, and I felt awful because we were getting ready for our game, and the guys were like slowly coming over, and it was a 0-0 game, and they were playing extremely well. It was the same thing, like just one of those back and forth games, and Moultonborough scored, and it was just like kind of getting late early kind of thing, and it was just
I think it was the 76th minute.
Yeah,
like it was like
it was
right
very
there.
close.
But like my point though is that game they played a great game, like you just said, and like I can automatically think of Keenan. She is a powerhouse up front, and it seems to run in the family because of the cousins at Guilford. But like she I
love my guy Big A, absolutely.
I was gonna say, like, I remember when I finally made that connection. I'm like, wait a minute, and they're like, "Yep." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
But that's going back into the same thing. Is Moultonborough is one of those teams that in certain sports they can play up a division and still be very competitive.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, Interlakes did a great job, and I think no matter who they are playing, whether it be number 1 seed or number 16 seed, they're gonna do
I think they'll be
scrappy. They're gonna
regardless of how it ends up for them and whoever they play, they're gonna give it their best effort and they're gonna get after it. And it's not gonna be one thing that they're just satisfied to get there.
Right.
And it's not a group that is ready to be done.
Exactly.
Like just watching how they practice every day, whether if we're sharing, facility or not, and you just look over and they're working hard the entire time. Like there's not a whole lot of fooling around. There's not like when they're in drill work, they're in drill work.
Right.
They're like getting after it. And some of them, like, I got to like try to get my guys to do the same thing. Like I'm just
stare at them.
No, but I'm just
see what they do
I'm
over
just
there.
like,
what they're
Why
doing?
can't we do that?
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to get them to do simple basic things. And like the way Chelsea's like running that program, like she's doing a really great job at getting them the best out of them all the time.
Right.
Not just one game, not just 1 week. Like this year, they've been a really, really good team, and they've played some teams very tough. They've beat some teams. They've tied some games. Like they're right there. And you just, as the boys coach, you just kind of hope that they can get in as that top 8 seed to host.
Well, and I mean, and something I like about Chelsea is this is my second year working with her and her staff, and every game we talk post game, it was, oh yeah, we had a good game, we did this, but we can work on this, we can work on that. And I've had coaches come up to me and they're like, yeah, we're great, and it's like you can always improve. Mm-hmm. There's always something
and
you can work on, and she's a great, she's a great advocate for saying, like, we always need to be improving, and she's a great coach, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's always tough after the fact when the game's over to just, like, to answer that question. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because, like, win or lose, you're thinking game, and you haven't necessarily digested it yet.
Right.
To just be like, okay, well, this is what we need to work on. Like, usually that takes me, like, if it's a good game, it might not take as long. If it's a bad game, like you're thinking about the whole thing and like trying to find like 1 or 2 things. And like we've watched them a couple of times this year between like the Moultonborough second half at Moultonborough's homecoming, the Moultonborough game. We watched them play the first half against Berlin. We watched them play White Mountain a little bit. Like they've done a really good job and they work hard. And for the first couple of years that Chelsea was there, like it was a little bit of a battle, and like they finally have gotten it together talent-wise to where they're a competitive team, and they're where they should be. Right. They're going to do something. I think they can do something special over there
for sure. Going back to Prospect real quick, because we were talking about is your team going to be that fight or flight?
Yeah.
And again, not to go off of wins losses, because we were talking about that earlier. About that doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. The last 4 games they've played, they've lost 1, and it was at Trinity yesterday. Other than that, they've won everything 7-0.
Trinity up a division on them?
Trinity's in Division 3 for girls soccer.
Okay.
So
it's hard to.
But and the thing is so they beat Newfound 7-0. They beat Berlin 7-2. They beat Mascoma 4-0, and they lost to Trinity 6-0. But they got Monadnock and Interlakes left.
Where's Trinity compared to them in the standings?
That's a good question.
Private school, probably up top.
Actually, right behind Interlakes.
That's not surprising at all.
So they're mid packing.
Yep.
But again, like you're looking at the schedule and looking at that, and
but I guess my thought is they have momentum with winning.
It's not the best time if you're a coach and you see you're playing a 4-8 team. or whatever it is that they are. I think they're 4-8. Is that what we said?
Yes.
For a prospect?
For prospect,
Yeah.
yeah. When you see they're 4-8 and they've won 3 of 4 right
like,
now,
what
this
changed? What's going on?
they might be in a lighter part of their schedule.
Right.
Or,
Just
or
knowing,
did
just
something
knowing,
click.
just knowing some of the teams you said. Like, I'm not going to say anything, but like I know
got a
that
player
I
back.
know the part where they're at. As a coach, you don't generally want to see that team that's a little bit hot
Exactly.
because you're not sure
What way the
what
ball
you're
will
going to get.
roll.
Yeah.
What you're going to get. Fortunately enough for us, for our girls, it's at home. It's senior day, so they're going to be amped up. They're going to be ready.
hope.
They're going to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
they're
hope.
getting ready for that playoff push. So it'll be a good game regardless, win or lose, or tie, whatever the outcome is. It'll be good. But as a coach, you definitely you want to play better teams going into the playoffs.
Right.
You
And-
want that
and
win
if
going into the playoffs.
If Prospect Mountain's playing well, you want to be playing a team that's playing well going into it. The only other part me personally am worrying about, if that team's trying to get in, that's a lot of momentum to try to go against.
Right.
Because we did it a few years ago. We were playing at Newfound and a win only got us in. Like Newfound, I think, was already in potentially. So like they weren't necessarily trying to play for anything, but like seeding, we needed to win to get in. A tie, we were 17th. A win was 16th. That was the only way we were making it into the playoffs.
Right.
I wouldn't have wanted to play us because we're just going after it. There's
Right.
literally nothing
Nothing
else
held
to
back.
play for.
to be honest,
There's
Nothing
nothing else
held
to play
back.
for.
if I'm a higher team and I'm facing a team like that right before playoffs, it's perfect. Because that's what playoff
Yeah.
soccer is going to feel
Right.
You're
like.
getting that experience early on that it's basically win or go home.
right.
No, I mean, and talking about that bubble battle going into this final week, Belmont right above them playing Raymond, Mascoma, and Berlin. Berlin at home, so
That's
they're
good.
not on the road. Mascoma and Raymond, they're on the road.
So that sounds like they got a good opportunity right there.
Yeah, because from the scores that you said for Prospect Mountain in those teams, and you said it was what, Mascoma? Mascoma's probably got Mascoma might be in the same boat,
I think so.
similar record wise.
Right.
Berlin's probably in the similar record wise.
Yeah.
So like those will be battling. Those are teams battling to get in.
Those
Yeah.
three, that's
But-
going to be interesting to watch coming down the stretch here.
Definitely, though, talking about Prospect's schedule here in the middle, September to basically middle of September to October, they had 7 losses, but they came to Raymond, Stevens, Guilford, St. Thomas, Guilford, Belmont, Raymond. So like
Who was that? Who played that schedule?
Prospect.
Prospect, yeah.
So like
they're
they
playing
played,
some of the top
they
teams.
played some of the top teams,
Yeah,
and
but
they got
that-
shut out by all but one game.
So that tells me that Belmont's ahead of them because they beat them.
Yeah.
So now it's going to put that's why Belmont's ahead of them right
Well,
now.
Belmont lost to them their first game and then beat them their second game.
What was the scores in both games?
First game at Prospect 4-2. Second game at Belmont 2-0.
Realistically, if you're Belmont in a split like that, you want to make sure that you're not tied.
Right.
You want to make sure you don't have the same record going in.
But according to
But
the standings right now, Belmont's ahead of them.
And they have the same amount of
No, less games right now.
less games. So
Yeah,
realistically,
I
so
think
then
one's
after
16 points and the other
Yeah,
one's 20 points.
so
I
if
was
you
gonna
if you end up head to head tied 1-1, it goes right into tournament teams.
Right. How many tournament teams does both teams have? Do you know that?
But the only then realistically, what happens if you have if Belmont, Prospect, and Berlin are all tied for that 16 spot?
Right, it goes straight to that.
You
right?
go right into
Playoff teams.
wins against tournament teams, but all three of those are considered tournament teams. So what counts for you counts for the other team. So it's definitely a tiebreaker thing. That's a little bit of a head scratcher at times, but that's what makes the bottom of the bracket so much more fun.
That four. How many teams have buys in that too?
In,
So
a, in a
it'd be-
16 team playoff, none.
None.
No,
Yeah,
one would
that's
play
right.
16. One would play 16 for sure.
So 1 and 2 are like, okay, we should get this done, but who are we facing?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you're just waiting.
The
You're in that same
questions-
you don't know who you're going to host. You know you're hosting, but it could be anybody.
Right. Well, we'll obviously talk more about that next week because we'll, in theory, on this time next week, it will all be entered and all that.
Yeah, the bracket won't be out, but we'll be able to
do what I did here with
we'll be able to shake out some stuff
with
to
the
figure
tournament
out,
manager.
who's where and whatnot.
Yeah.
Potentially.
No, it should be fun. I think we talked about everything we want to talk about. We touched on volleyball briefly. We'll talk field hockey. Obviously, like I said, next week we'll talk more about soccer, brackets, playoffs.
Well, it'll basically be soccer and volleyball that'll be out. Field hockey will be to Final Fours.
Middle.
Football will have a week left, so I mean it'll be.
So you'll talk brackets, probably football, and then start talking some playoffs.
Yeah, we'll talk brackets. I think football we'll probably talk about the week after.
Yeah, because they're still 2 weeks away
yeah.
from the regular season ending.
So the next episode, and the one after that, just gonna kind of be like a mix of, playoff talk and things like that. So, yeah,
listen to and stay tuned.
Yeah, for field hockey, we want to say good luck to everybody who makes the tournament, and we'll see you all on the field hockey field. But
good luck this week in your games too, Coach.
Yeah, good luck as well.
Thank
Coach.
you.
Don't fumble in the last.
I mean, we're playing a tough team, so it's really not.
You got this.
I mean, there's nothing. You're just kind of hoping to keep it close. Battle.
Anything's possible.
If you can
any given Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Tuesday, Thursday.
Oh yeah, there you go.
The ball.
If we can find a way to keep it close against Guilford and frustrate them a little bit, just to give ourselves a little bit of confidence going in. Mascoma will be. I mean, they're still tough, but beatable. I think they'll be beatable, honestly. But those are the teams you want to play going into the playoffs. You want to play top teams. You don't want to.
Right. We talked about that earlier.
You don't want to not necessarily cupcake it, but you want to get in and you want to be comfortable when you get there.
Right.
For sure. Well, either way, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin, for coming on.
No problem.
It was fun.
Anytime, you know that.
The podcast brought to you by U.S. Cellular of Concord.
Not an actual sponsor of us. I want to put that out
Mike
there.
Foley and his brother's trading card company.
And his trading card company.
Wait, he's in trading cards now?
Oh, yeah.
I would feel bad for not
safe.
getting that one thing
Trade
in.
safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Foley's not here, we got to at least say trade safe.
Jeez,
I got some football cards.
Don't cut that. Don't cut that out.
We
You'll
won't.
love that. You'll have to clip it, put it on the Instagram.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Where's our money? No, just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, so we didn't really. Yeah, coming up this week, I'm gonna figure out that schedule here in the next day or two. That's why I didn't talk about it here in the podcast because I don't even know necessarily where we're going. I know we're gonna have our Guilford has their pink game tomorrow for volleyball against Milford, so we'll have that. That's on Monday. And then soccer on Tuesday for girls for Guilford and Inch Lakes, and that's about as far as I know right now.
Well, I mean, with everything up.
Right now, it's a roulette game.
We'll figure it
waiting
out
to
from
see
there.
What's coming.
Yeah, most likely field hockey Friday at Guilford, unless for some reason they all get COVID and have to forfeit.
The rain.
That would be horrendous.
Yeah, it's only rain in the beginning of the week potentially.
Oh, great.
That's good.
Yeah.
As long as it happens tomorrow when I'm in a gym.
Yeah,
that's
I think
fine.
It's Monday. Yeah,
that works.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, sunshine on Tuesday. Good for me. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for joining.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of fun.
Anytime.
We got it under 2.5 hours this week. 2 hours and 20-something minutes.
That's a decent
Woohoo.
time.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the pattern here. But cool. Well, thank you guys. To everybody competing this week, good luck. And we'll see you all next week for another episode. For Dan and Justin, I'm Devin. Have a good night or good rest of your day. See ya.